Commissioner Michael O'Donnell took the witness stand in his trial yesterday. O'Donnell accused of taking thousands of dollars from campaign funds and using them for his own personal use. David Jorgensen testified he got paid for 10 months when he didn't work for O'Donnell's campaign. Jorgensen said he asked for work but never received assignments from the campaign. Jack Masterson testified receiving a series of checks from the O'Donnell campaign but said he didn't recall doing any work for the campaign. The prosecution rested yesterday and the trial resumes today at federal court in Wichita. Police in Wichita say the man who was found with a gunshot wound in his vehicle on Sunday morning has died. Wichita police have identified the shooting victim as 27-year-old Hector Ortega. Ortega was found around 5 o'clock Sunday morning in the 1100 block of South Fern. He died Tuesday night from his injuries. No arrests in the case have been made. I'm Rick Everett with news. Now with sports, Doug Downs.
The Wichita State Shockers wrap up the month of February tonight with a home game against the Yukon Huskies. A Shocker win tonight would give head coach Greg Marshall his 300th win at Wichita State. In order for the Shockers to win, they're going to need the confidence of Dexter Dennis and his hot shooting over the last 3 games to continue.
I'd say it's just a confidence thing. I believe just when I shoot it, it's going in every time.
We will have Shocker sound off at 4 o'clock from Twin Peaks East. Also tonight on 1410 AM 93.9 FM KGSO, it's high school basketball sub-state as Cape and Mount Carmel faces Bishop Carroll. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Spring is right around the corner. Your truck is getting excited because it knows it's almost time to go out and play. I've got Bob Shippers with me from Continental Truck Accessories down on South Broadway. Bob, it is the season to get the trucks ready for playtime.
Absolutely, Rick. Get your truck ready with a new Sentry or ATC topper or lid, soft cover, tonneau cover, roll and lock, grill guard, and don't forget their hitches, receivers, and fifth wheels to be able to tow your boat, camper, and your other play toys.
See Continental Truck Accessories at 6701 South Broadway. You've driven by forever, but you've never stopped in. I'm talking about Barney's Pharmacy, your Health Mart pharmacy at Central and Zoo Boulevard. Barney's Pharmacy has been Wichita's trusted source for prescriptions, home medical needs, and diabetes supplies since the 1980s. And if you're wondering how Barney's Pharmacy compares with your current prescription provider, Barney's website name says it all. Barney'sDiscountDrugs.com with free citywide delivery, pharmacy, home medical, and groceries. Barney's Pharmacy.
Coming spring 2019.
Hail.
Ouch. Oh.
Wind. Freezing temperatures. Tornadoes. That's mayhem.
Hi, I'm Mark Collier, your local Allstate agent. We're your insurance agency interested in doing what's best for you. Before mayhem strikes, call us at our Goddard office, 316-413-4014, and find us on Facebook at Collier Allstate. Are you in good hands?
When it comes to cleaning homes, dust, grime, and soap scum don't stand a chance when a team of highly trained dirt assassins from the Maids hit the scene. Ruthlessly efficient. Trained in a 22-step process perfected through years of practice by the Maids. These masters of messes have only one motto: we fight dirty. Call now for a free estimate and schedule every other week service. Call the Maids, 316-832-9058, or visit maids.com.
ABC Recycling pays top dollar for your scrap metal. Is your New Year's resolution to purge your place of stuff? If it's metal, don't even think about sending it to the landfill before you talk with ABC Recycling. They want to see what you have. With years of experience, ABC Recycling has gained the trust of businesses and individuals as seasoned recyclers. Bring your scraps to ABC Recycling and they'll give it a new purpose while you get a positive impact on your bottom line and your pocket. Visit us just west of Hydraulic and Gilbert or online at abcrecyclingllc.com.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
Special report, no deal with North Korea. President Trump is aboard Air Force One right now, flying home to Washington rather than attending the lunch and signing ceremony that was on the schedule at the Hanoi summit with North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un.
There was a potential we could have signed something today. I could have 100% signed something today. We actually had papers ready to be signed, but it just wasn't appropriate. I want to do it right.
Mr. Trump saying the major sticking point was that Kim wanted U.S. sanctions against his country lifted before he would dismantle some but not all of North Korea's nuclear weapons program.
They wanted the sanctions lifted in their entirety, and we couldn't do that.
There is no talk of a third summit, with negotiations now set to continue at a lower diplomatic level.
And we will keep the relationship We'll see what happens over the next period of time.
Again, a day that began with talk of a denuclearization deal ended abruptly in Hanoi with no deal now in sight. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers. Conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road. The Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Mostly sunny and 35, wind chill down to 0. Tonight, increasing clouds and 23. Tomorrow, warmer, mostly sunny and 48. Mostly cloudy and 23 for tomorrow night. Mostly cloudy and 34 again Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:06. It's currently 15 degrees.
Joe Pags, today after Dave Ramsey on AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
It has officially come to Kansas, changing your birth certificate to change the gender. Pretty soon it's going to be having that option to have gender neutral or no gender at all in order for you to choose what gender you want to be. When you get older, you get to be 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years old, and you choose to be what gender you want. That opens up the Pandora's box for the bathroom usage, and yet it's coming here. Why? Because the progressives think, hey, why not?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration. Kind of a nice day. What do you say? Broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas. On the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV as well. We are rocking it on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio. Subscribe to the page. We are 3 away from 100 subscribers on our KQAM YouTube page, which is really awesome, and we appreciate that very much. Thank you for that. We are growing little by little, and it is way awesome, and I'm really excited about it. So go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio. Just type it in the search bar there on YouTube. Find KQAM Radio's page. Subscribe to it. You can watch us live. You can watch all the podcasts. Leave comments. Whatever you want to do. By the way, that is our one and only podcast feed for the show as of right now. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK if you want to join into the ABC Recycling Hotlines. I want to hear from you today. We have a really big show coming up today. I'm really excited. The Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association, they have their it's a biannual meeting. They have 2 a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. It's coming up in a couple of weeks, next week actually. They'll be in studio at 8 a.m. today. And as you remember, if you remember from the last couple times they've been in studio, they like to bring lots of firearms, which means we will be again at the most heavily armed studio in the country, even more so than Armed American Radio with Mark Walters, even more so than Gun Talk with Tom Gresham. We will be the most heavily armed studio in the country with all these guys coming in with their firearms. I'm really excited about it. They'll be here at 8 o'clock today, so you can see all that stuff. So I definitely encourage you to, if you get an opportunity, to jump on TV, KGPT TV, channel 26.10, or you can go into YouTube, youtube.com, find us on there, watch the video feed, especially in the 8 o'clock hour when they come in here with all of their really awesome firearms. So we'll do that here in just a little bit. Plus, at 8:30, we have Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins. It's the last Thursday of the month, and we always look forward to chatting with him as well. So I don't know if you watched this garbage yesterday. I tried to. I really did. I couldn't turn away. That's the problem. I didn't want to watch it. It was really dumb. It made me very angry, but I couldn't turn away, and that was with the hearing from Cohen at the House Committee and them asking him questions. Now, I'm very curious why we take him seriously, how he can pledge under oath to give a sworn testimony to Congress when he has lied to Congress, when he lied during his entire investigation. I mean, I'm one of those, I have not talked about this. I've stayed out of it. I don't really care. I know you probably don't care. Most of you probably did not watch this yesterday either. It probably is not a big thing because you already have your mind made up. You don't care one way or another. Either he's telling the truth and Donald Trump's a big meanie head, and he's I realized, too, it wasn't even like factually, oh, here's the evidence of him doing corrupt things. It was he's a big meanie head and he's a big racist and here's this and he's that, and that's what their big argument was. So you either believe him already because, well, he worked for Donald Trump and he's in trouble already, so what has he got to lose? And he's going to come out and he's going to admit all this stuff to Donald Trump, so therefore it must be true. Or he's a liar. He is a proven liar. He admitted to lying. He lied to Congress before. He lied to the investigation before. He lied about all the shenanigans that he had done before, and now he's trying to save face and trying to get a nice deal for after his 3-year prison term, which is probably going to be shortened anyways because he's a progressive, and he had made business dealings, and they're going to take care of him, so he's going to be in prison for 3 years. Then, not even, he's sentenced for 3 years. Then he's going to get off on good behavior, and he's going to get off on this, get off on that, and then he's going to have a book tour, and he's going to have a potentially documentary tour and all this other garbage and make a lot of money, and he's going to be set. So why not throw some mudslinging at Donald Trump when he's only worked for him for like 20 years, 15 years, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm just curious why we actually listen to him. So the majority of you, you're probably, I'm guessing, are like, Andy, who cares? Doesn't matter. It's a bunch of garbage anyways. But I got to say, that hearing, the reason I couldn't turn away yesterday was because it was the most intense show I think I've ever seen. When you sit back and you watch it like a soap opera or like a daytime drama, it was the most dramatic show I've ever seen in my entire life. I have to admit, we had the Democrats that were taking shots at Republicans. We had Republicans that were yelling at Cohen. We had Cohen that were making snarky remarks back to the Republicans. And then the Democrats giving a sob story to Cohen and asking him questions and being all nice and hunky-dory with him. It was the most entertaining thing I've ever seen. And then, of course, the Republicans and Democrats are going back and forth. I mean, they were literally yelling at each other at points in that hearing yesterday. And to me, as a political guru, as a political nut who just absorbs this stuff and loves it, I was eating it up. It was the most entertaining thing in the world. Now, the scary part is that people actually take this seriously. They take his testimony seriously. They think that he's all of a sudden telling the truth, even though they caught him in lies in the middle of their hearing and questioning yesterday. They caught him in the middle of lying during the testimony, but they're going to take him seriously and actually trust him at his word with the shenanigans that he said that Donald Trump had been involved in. I don't get it. If you have someone that lies to you, do you believe a single word that they say? Anything. The sky's blue today. You know what? I'm actually going to have to go out and verify that because you've lied to me so many times. I don't trust you at all. A single word that you say. I don't trust that you even have children. I don't trust that you even have a wife. I don't trust that you even are sitting in front of me right now because I have to verify that because you are that much of a habitual liar. So you're going to sit there and testify under oath to Congress who you've lied to before, and now all of a sudden the Democrats just eat it up. If you are that gullible, there is something wrong with you, which explains a lot, though, because that's the same group that actually believes in the fact that you have gender fluidity where you can be any gender you want to. That's the same group that believes that taking away guns actually makes people safer. That's the same group that believes in man-made climate change actually existing in society today. It's astronomical how many times they're gullible. So it makes sense. It really does. But if you noticed yesterday during the hearing, if you did listen to the hearing, the fact that very few of it was actually really informational evidence, but it was more just character attacking.
Mr. Trump is a racist. The country has seen Mr. Trump court white supremacists and bigots. You have heard him call poorer countries. In private, he is even worse. He once asked me if I could name a country run by a black person that wasn't. This was when Barack Obama was president of the United States. And while we were once driving through a struggling neighborhood in Chicago, he commented that only black people could live that way. And he told me that black people would never vote for him because they were too stupid. And yet, I continue to work for him.
That's really funny because President Trump has done the biggest prison reforms and corrections reforms in the country, and he sat down with black religious leaders numerous times, and he's worked closer with the African-American communities in the country more so than even Barack Obama had done. at the time as well. So, this is kind of the guy saying, hey, that fish I caught, man, it was 1.5 foot long. It was huge. It was so big. It was the biggest fish in the entire pond. I tell you not, it was the biggest fish I have ever seen in my entire life. I could fit my entire arm down the mouth of this fish. It was so massive. I tell you, it is the biggest fish I've ever seen in my entire life. You'll never see another fish as big as this one. That's the story that I'm hearing from this guy. And by the way, I know he's from New York, and I know he's got kind of the same temperament and personality as Donald Trump, but just his attitude, just the way he talks, just that abrasive, I don't know. That was a turnoff in the first place anyways. Then you listen to garbage like that, which, okay, even if, which is not true, but even if Donald Trump had said this kind of stuff, even if this is half true, what does that have to do with an investigation of him doing shady deals? This was a character attack. And this is good for the Democrats because the Democrats eat it up and they love it. That's all they have. This started up. We got to remember from the origin of this. Let's walk through the baby steps because so many people are like, I don't even know what this was about. I don't even understand it. I tuned out of this a long time ago. Where did this even come from? Let's go step by step here for just a second to try and break this down for individuals to see where we started and where we've come as to this point as of now. This started with a Russian investigation to see if Donald Trump was colluding with Russians during the election. Now, how did we get from that to what we just heard there? Donald Trump's a racist. And he said things about black people and black communities and black presidents, which isn't true. But how did we get to that point? Where did this even come from with Michael Cohen sitting there in front of Congress doing a testimony, trying to testify against Donald Trump? Where did we even get to this point? The investigation, the Mueller investigation, trying to find Russian collusion. Started off with Russian collusion, and we've branched off into all these different areas about finding and picking off people who had associated with Donald Trump in the past and now have been caught in doing fraudulent deals or bad business deals or shady business deals or lying or doing whatever. And now, though, they're picking them apart little by little by little. Nothing to do with Russia, but additional things they're finding along the way. But still none of them being tied to Donald Trump either. Just the fact that he had associated with them in the past. That's it. Period. End of story. That's like you having a friend and you knowing somebody and they live down the street and you're associates with them and then all of a sudden you find out they're a psychopath. And like they're, doing terrible things to children or they're a murderer or something. And you're like, hey, I knew him. Didn't know anything about that stuff. So that's what they found. So now we branched off into all these little sub-branches of investigations on these individuals, Roger Stone and Michael Cohen and all these other ones. We're like, okay, now they're doing shady business deals. Nothing to do with Russia, but look at all these bad business dealings that these rich, evil people are doing. So now we persecuted them for that. And, if they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law. So, you know what, I'm glad. Let's punish them and let's find out what they're doing and let's make sure that they're being punished by the law because they have broken the rule of law. So, you know what, fine. But nothing to do with Russia, nothing to do with Donald Trump. So now one of them that's going to prison who had worked with Donald Trump says he has this beef on Donald Trump, and the Democrats eat it up because they love it, because if anybody says anything, then they automatically believe it. Remember, you had, what's her name, Ford, going after Brett Kavanaugh. No evidence of anything, but she said it, so therefore it must be true, and we need to have a hearing so that way we can listen to it, so we can get the story out there, so we can do a character assassination on a Republican that's supporting Donald Trump. Michael Cohen, guess what? He was associate of Donald Trump. He worked with Donald Trump. He's going against Donald Trump. Now, this is beautiful. Even if we don't have any evidence, we can at least do the character assassination on Donald Trump to say he's an evil, horrible human being, to re-embrace the Democrats' hatred for them, to try and win over a few people who are staying out of the conversation, who don't understand what's going on, but just hear a little bit of the leakage going out there, and then they get angry at Donald Trump for being associated with someone like this, and then probably by association doing shady deals himself. That's what this is about. Nothing. So then we do the character assassination. It's quite fascinating, isn't it? 316-721-8255. And then you had the brilliancy of some of the Democrats taking the shots at the Republicans, saying that, well, we can walk and chew gum at the same time, because the Republicans were saying, hey, this is a waste of time. Why would we bring an habitual liar to Congress who's already lied to us before and then take him at his word? We have more important issues to be addressing. Democrats only have one priority, which is to try to find some reason, any reason for an impeachment of President Donald Trump, and they're going to look for it. And at the end of this, they're going to find something out of that hearing that says, you know what? We don't know. It's up in the air. We're not quite sure. But let's go ahead and impeach him because there's enough evidence of potential that we just want to clear the air anyways. That's what they want. And, oh, by the way, he's a big racist and a big meaniehead as well. I've never seen anything like this. It is a soap opera. It's the best drama you can watch. At the same time, if you're that gullible to honestly, truly believe this stuff, it is foolish. It is ridiculous. It is absurd. Let's go to the phones. Get your thoughts on this. Did you watch it yesterday? I want to hear your thoughts because it's kind of a fascinating one, isn't it? 316-721-8255. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hi, Andy. This is Helen.
Good morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Good.
It's cold again, but
it is very cold outside, yes.
We need to tell Cortez that her global warming is not accurate. But, you know, she actually did a pretty good job yesterday asking questions. I watched the whole monotonous 8 hours of the deal, and but, you know, her questions were totally irrelevant and to Russian collusion or anything like that.
They were absolutely irrelevant. I mean, she stuck to her agenda, which was hysterical. I did watch that as well. She was hysterical because nothing to do with collusion, nothing to do with shady business deals. She was upset about the ways that he found inside the law, which is legal. She was upset and questioning about ways that he was cutting his tax rate for his businesses. Oh, my gosh. Oh.
Shame on Trump for trying to save some money.
I cannot believe that he used it the same way that every other business, just like Spirit Aerosystems or just like any other aviation company coming here, when we give them grants, when we give them tax breaks in order to build something here, in order to create those jobs. Terrible, absolute travesty that Donald Trump did the same thing to build us golf courses in her district, and that he used grants, that he worked with the local government, and that he got tax breaks in order to build that golf course. That was the most travesty thing I've ever seen.
And bottom line is they did not prove, these baby murderers did not prove that he violated any laws that is worthy of being impeached for.
None whatsoever. Again, it was nothing but a character assassination. So, and you can't impeach somebody for being a grumpy or a kind of a jerk sort of thing, or else we would have had a lot of presidents in the past that were impeached. But you're right. That's all it was. They had no evidence. They had no actual proof of anything. It was a liar going up to testify and then just spouting off his mouth about things that he had a beef against, and then Democrats eating it up and thinking it was proof, and then Republicans sitting here saying this is a waste of time and this is dumb because we can't trust you anyways. And we actually proved during the testimony that you were lying throughout your own testimony here. In the past and currently, that you lied even in that 8-hour stint that you were sitting in front of us. You lied multiple times, and we proved it over and over, but yet you're somehow someone that we can trust, and you didn't give us any evidence, but you just rattled off a bunch of stuff for a character assassination. And that, to Democrats, is enough for impeachment. That, to Democrats, is enough for them to actually believe and actually try and push for articles of impeachment. Helen, I appreciate it. We got to take a break here, but absolutely absurd. And then, most of it was completely irrelevant questions. AOC, did he actually use that code or that way to try and get tax breaks to build his golf course? Yes, he did. Oh, my gosh. What a terrible Nazi fascist he is, trying to get tax breaks from the local government to build a business and build a golf course in the community. Worst person in the world. Worst person in the world. Good golly. This is the voice of reason. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Mead. Good morning. Biosecurity every day on the farm is critically important for pig farms. Swine Health Information Executive Director Dr. Paul Sundberg advises farmers to think globally and act locally.
Be very vigilant about international contacts and the origin of any products that are coming onto your farm, whether that's food that people carry on or whether it's feed for the pigs. And talk to the feed suppliers about the origin of your feed, and make sure that you monitor and know the people that are coming on and off the farm and their history of international contacts.
Sundberg asks farmers to be aware of what is happening around the world and focus on Biosecurity.
That can be a tiring word and a tiring process, but biosecurity every day on the farm is really important. You think globally and look over the hill and look across the water to things that are happening around the world. Think globally, but act locally.
African swine fever is the one threat getting attention right now, but Sundberg says that is just one foreign animal disease that needs to be monitored. Producers can contact the Pork Checkoff Service Center for more information. Go to pork.org online or call 800-456-PORK. In other news, a coalition of more than 50 farm groups is asking lawmakers to safeguard crop insurance. The organizations, including the American Farm Bureau Federation, warned in a letter to top-ranking House and Senate budget leaders this week that an over-reliance on budget savings from the agriculture community and from crop insurance will unquestionably undermine rural economies. The groups say farm profitability is expected to hit a low not experienced in more than a decade. Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network.
When it comes to the trailer you're hauling behind your vehicle, whether it's a big rig or a pickup truck, MJ's Truck Repair at exit 46 off I-135 in Mound Ridge, Kansas has your back. Dunin and Chaparral drop decks, flatbeds, and heavy hauling trailers for the big rigs, along with gooseneck livestock trailers by Barrett. And for your pickup truck, the utility line of trailers from Rice with 5x10 to 8x20 boxes. MJ's Truck Repair, Mound Ridge.
As one of the leading producers of performance-based bulls in the Red Angus breed, Bieber Red Angus is committed to offering cattle that deliver more pounds for you. More than 80% of our bull offering ranks in the top 25% of the breed for growth and carcass traits. The Bieber Fever Spring Production Sale takes place Thursday, March 7th at 1 p.m. at the ranch near Leola, South Dakota. Call us at 605-439-3628 or visit BieberRedAngus.com for videos and a catalog.
Croft Lumber of Heston. Project expertise from start to finish. At Croft Lumber, you'll experience big box store selection with Heston owned and operated pride in serving you, the customer. Quality Anderson and Marvin windows, Anderson and Larson storm doors, the full line of custom kitchen cabinetry from R.D. Henry & Company. And Croft Lumber has the full Milwaukee tool line. Croft Lumber, where service is their specialty and delivery within a 50-mile radius is absolutely free. Croft Lumber of Heston.
Hey, Mark Walters with Armed American Radio, and I want to tell you about Rob's Gun Tech and Firearms. They're the dealer to buy, sell, trade, and even consign. Budget to high-end custom firearms, ammo, accessories. They've got it all and feature Wilson Combat, Gun Crafters Industries, and Nighthawk Custom. Have a request? Work with their in-house gunsmith, find the right solution for you. Rob's Gun Tech offers pricing programs and discounts and proudly gives back to the Veterans Suicide Network. Learn more today at robsguntechandfirearms.com or visit them just east of 159th North on East Kellogg, where they know more than just the price.
Patriotism is alive and well. The voice of reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
You know, you're a disgraced lawyer. I mean, you've been disbarred. And so I'm sure you remember, well, maybe you don't remember, duty of loyalty, duty of confidentiality, attorney-client privilege. I think the gentleman over your right side actually understands that very, very well and wouldn't do what you are doing here today. So let's go back at this credibility. You want us to make sure that we think of you as a real philanthropic icon, that you're about justice, that you're the person that somebody would call at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, they wouldn't. Not at all. When you saw Mr. Comer dissect you, right in front of this committee, you conflicted your testimony, sir. You're a pathological liar. You don't know truth from falsehood.
Sir, I'm sorry. Are you referring to me or the president?
Hey, this is my time.
Are you referring to me, sir, or the president?
When I ask you a question, yeah, I'll ask for an answer.
Sure.
Wow. There you go. That was the entertainment we got to listen to yesterday. You're a pathological liar. And then the snarky, are you referring to me or President Trump? Yeah. It was entertaining, at least. We'll get your thoughts on that when we come back. Plus, when we come back, we got a lot of statewide and regional issues to get to. Oklahoma doing something really awesome yesterday. We'll talk about some of that when it comes to the Second Amendment and more. This is The Voice of Reason. Happy Thursday morning to you. Stay right here.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
Special report, no deal with North Korea.
They wanted the sanctions lifted. in their entirety, and we couldn't do that.
President Trump in Hanoi explaining why there's no deal with North Korea on denuclearization or anything else. Kim Jong-un offering to reduce, not eliminate his nuclear weapons program if the U.S. removed all economic sanctions. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
Unfortunately, we didn't get all the way. We didn't get to something that ultimately made sense for the United States of America. I think Chairman Kim was hopeful that we would. We asked him to do more. He was unprepared to do that.
Pompeo says talks will continue.
I'm still optimistic. I'm hopeful that the teams will get back together in the days and weeks ahead.
The president and Kim canceled their scheduled lunch and, with nothing to sign, scrapped the signing ceremony. President Trump is now flying back to Washington, calling South Korea's President Moon from Air Force One to say that he regrets the summit's collapse. I'm Michael Toscano.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Thursday morning. Kansas legislators are moving ahead with a bill aimed at making sure they and the governor are notified whenever foster children run away or go missing. The Senate approved the measure yesterday on a 40-0 vote, sending it to the House. The bill would require foster care contractors to notify DCF within 24 hours when a child goes missing. DCF would then have 48 hours to notify the governor and lawmakers. The company providing health care in Kansas prisons being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars less than it's due because it didn't meet some of the agreement's terms. Kansas News Service reports Tennessee-based Horizon Health didn't hire enough nurses and other health care workers and didn't meet other performance standards. The state currently has a $68.8 million contract with Horizon. The company was penalized close to $535,000 from Kansas for not meeting performance standards last year. Mid-America Network News.
Hi, this is Brian Davis.
And this is Blake Davis.
Check out our everyday low prices on Bud and Bud Light 12-pack bottles
for just $10.99.
And don't forget to stop in Tuesdays for 10% off all beer cases.
Special pricing not available at 31st and Meridian.
Davis Liquor Outlet.
Each store independently owned and operated.
Don't miss more ways to save on a new Bobcat compact track loader at White Star Machinery. Choose a cash rebate up to $10,000 or take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months with no payments for 90 days with approved credit. Put built tough priced right Bobcat equipment to work and get peace of mind with our 2-year, $2,000 full warranty. Why wait? Start saving today. Check it out on our website, whitestarmachinery.com.
White Star, get the job done.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change? Brakes? Exhaust? Radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
Hi, I'm Blake Davis with Davis Liquor Outlet. Check out our special price of just $10.99 on Coors Light and Miller Lite 12-pack bottles.
And don't forget Tuesdays, 10% off full beer cases.
Special pricing excludes 31st and Meridian location.
We are Davis Liquor Outlet.
Each store independently owned and operated.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Mostly sunny and 35, wind chill down to 0. Tonight, increasing clouds and 23. Tomorrow, warmer, mostly sunny and 48. Mostly cloudy and 23 for tomorrow night. Mostly cloudy and 34 again Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 6:35, it's currently 15 degrees.
Call the Voice of Reason now. on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is The Big Talker, KQAM. If you're a Republican, call the show at 316-721-TALK. But if you're a Democrat, call in at 316-721-8255. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Yeah, it kind of is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hoosier. Great to have you along today for a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration, one of the best days of the entire week, which makes it kind of exciting. Welcome in, 316-721-8255 on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. This half hour of the broadcast brought to you by Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop. Be a rock star today. On your way to work, make sure to pick up a dozen donuts from Lamar's. It kind of is the great way to start each and every morning. They have 3 locations in town, one just south of Rock and K96, one at Tyler and Mays, the other at Harry on the east side of Hillside. Try them. You'll definitely like them. It's Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop. Online at lamars.com as well. 316-721-8255. There are so many issues that we need to get to that it's really hard to talk about. We've tried to talk about the alternative energy the last couple of days. We'll get to that today as well. Although there is some very important issues, and we've been teasing it and talking about it, but there are some Second Amendment legislation that's going on here in Kansas that went down in Oklahoma, and big win for Oklahoma yesterday as well with the constitutional carry now legal in the state of Oklahoma. We have some great listeners down there that we appreciate very much, been sending us some information on, and the HB 2597 constitutional carry was up for vote in the Senate as of yesterday, and it ended up passing. Now, it sounds like they've been trying this for a while now, but Oklahoma's kind of had struggled with the constitutional carry. Kansas actually being able to implement that just a couple of years ago as well. So that's something we should be proud of, because this is going to come down to the states. You got to remember, the political landscape now is the majority of politics is going to happen at the statewide level, which is why it's so important for us to talk to our legislators all the time, to keep an eye on the governor and keep our governors accountable for us all over the country. We need to keep responsible leaders at the state level. Going back to the original interpretation of the Constitution, let's do a little history lesson for just a second. I know it's early, and you're like, I just want to wake up, man. But just think about this for a second. If the states don't have any power, then what was the point of passing and drafting the Constitution? If the states don't have, because the states were there. The states were individual sovereign states that said, you know what, we need to band together and kind of find a way to work together for us to coincide and for us to have a little bit of fluidity together and be able to do some interstate commerce and do some stuff. So we need to have a little bit higher power above the states just to oversee a few things. But the states have the majority of the power, or else they would have had no way to actually ratify the Constitution and actually sign it. Think about it, right? Because the state had the actual power. So the states, so when we write the Constitution, there are those very few guaranteed powers that the federal government has, and those are really just like national security, light interstate commerce regulation, and foreign policy, foreign diplomacy, which, by the way, immigration, going back to that debate again, that is part of foreign diplomacy and foreign relations, because they are foreigners, people that are not from the United States, that are trying to interact with the United States in some way, shape, or form, either us going to them or them coming to us, or some kind of trade deal with our country and their country, or some type of diplomacy of whatever, some type of war treaty, whatever the deal is. That's a federal government matter. National security, and then interstate commerce, and that's about it. That's about it. That's it. Nothing else. No national health care, no other garbage like that, no fourth branch of the bureaucratic state with the EPA and regulating greenhouse gases and all this other garbage. It's not there. Nothing like that. Now, realistically, in today's times, that type of ideology is not going to be realistic anytime soon, and we probably will never, unfortunately, get back to that time of actually going back to the root of constitutionalism like that, but we need to fight for it as much as we can. Kind of like the overcorrection of a sporting event. You need to overcorrect your form to swing the baseball bat. Is that how you're going to swing? Probably not, but you need to overcorrect so that way you can get your muscle memory to do it properly, right? So as conservatives, we fight for the best we can, as much as we possibly can, and then we gain a little bit, and then we continue to fight for as much as we can, and we gain a little bit, and it's the ongoing process. The states are going to begin to have the power again. The federal government is so tied up and twisted in knots that they're going to have very little authority to do a whole lot anytime soon, because soon, and pretty much already right now, any law that they have violates another federal law that's on the books. And then just depending on whatever administration's in power at the time, they get to pick and choose on which one they actually choose to enforce, either this side or this side. And we're really to that point, which is why government is never the answer. And that's why as conservatives, you and I, we always advocate for the idea that government is never the answer. Government causes the issue. It's not the solution for the issue, because 99.99% of the time, government created the issue in the first place. So we have to keep that in our back of our mind. It's like the idea of listening to Michael Cohen and thinking that he's actually telling the truth because he's up there giving a testimony. He's a liar, and therefore anything he says cannot be trusted. It's not even a trust but verify. It's a don't trust because he never says anything that's the truth. So how can you possibly say when he sits up there and he's like, well, Donald Trump said, and he told this story about what Donald Trump told him before, and he said this story about what he worked on for Donald Trump in the past. You can't believe it. Why even listen to it? It's like a 4-year-old telling you that, the unicorn sprouted up out of the bedroom and leapt out of the house. I don't know where your unicorn went. By the way, my little girl, she's fascinated with unicorns. She loves them, and she's all about the unicorn. She wants a unicorn birthday party. I don't know. She wants a unicorn. Okay, fine. You want a unicorn thing. But now, hey, the unicorn grew up, and where'd your unicorn stuffed animal go? I don't know. It grew up, and it leapt out of the bedroom. It's gone. That's how much you can believe Cohen. That's how much you can believe the federal government. So as the powers begin to delegate back to the states are going to protect their own laws. The states are going to create their own laws. If California wants to pass environmental regulation, all the power to them. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I think it's really, really dumb. I think it's going to be really expensive for the taxpayers. But you know what? If Californians say that that's what they want, all the power to them. That's why I live in Kansas and I do not live in California. Now, don't create this scenario, destroy the state, and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to go to another state and then pass the same legislation because I haven't learned my lesson. So I'm going to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result, because it doesn't work that way. So as the states are beginning to have their own power, Kansas passed its constitutional carry just a few years ago. The Democrats all angry and trying to reverse that one. Now, Oklahoma, congratulations to you guys passing your constitutional carry as well. And well done. Well done. I'm really excited about Oklahoma being able to pass this, another step towards constitutional rights that you should have as a state. So kudos to that one. At the same time, we are seeing the federal U.S. House of Representatives in Congress pass anti-Second Amendment bills. See the confliction here? States saying, yeah, you know what? We want more gun rights. And then we have, and by the way, in Oklahoma, it's going to take effect starting in November because it did pass in both chambers by a decent margin, by overwhelming margin in both chambers, and the governor did sign it as of yesterday, so we are good to go, and that will be taking place in November, so that's awesome. At the federal level, however, we're seeing the opposite because the Democrats control one chamber. The Democrats feel like they're going to push as much of their agenda as they possibly want, and they're going to just rattle off all these ridiculous, absurd bills. I feel really bad for Republicans in the House. I really do. And all of our delegation here in Kansas, except for the 3rd District with Sharice Davids, outside of that one, I feel really bad for Ron Estes and for Roger Marshall and for Steve Watkins. I feel really bad for these guys because this is going to be a battle that they know they're going to lose. They're going to be able to the good news is that they're going to be able to really work on their voting record and vote no against a lot of really bad garbage. And they can do what they can to try and fight it. Are they going to be able to do anything? I don't know. But there were 2 bills so far just in the last couple of days that were going on at the federal level, H.R. number 8 and H.R. 1112, where one of them criminalizes private gun sales or even lending a gun. Private gun sales. Hey, Bob, you're my neighbor. I want to get rid of this 12-gauge shotgun. You want to go hunting and you want to get it for your kid. I'm going to sell it to you for $50. Not allowed to do that anymore. Criminalizing private gun sales or even lending a gun. Hey, Bob, I'm taking my kid's shooting this weekend. He doesn't have a gun. Do you have a spare one that I can borrow? Lending a gun, it would be illegal. Let me ask you, and this goes on with a lot of bills that get passed at the statewide, the local, and the federal levels. How can the first question that you have, 2 questions you need to have every time, and you think about this as a voter, as a constituent, the 2 questions that should automatically pop up every single time that someone proposes a bill: how do you pay for it, and how do you regulate it? How do you pay for it, and how do you enforce it? How are you going to have someone right there on the spot as two farmers are out on the middle of a dirt road in the middle of nowhere chatting about their duck hunting that they're going to do the next day, and they want to take their kid, and they don't have a shotgun for them, and if they can borrow a shotgun to go duck hunting the next day, tell me how you're going to enforce and regulate something like that. Every single time a bill is passed, that is the two questions that you should ask. How are you going to pay for it, and how are you going to enforce it and regulate it? That should be it. That's H.R. number 8, which it did pass. Now it's going to the Senate. Senate's hopefully going to kill it. We need to make sure our senators don't bring it up, so call your senators right now and make sure that doesn't go anywhere. But H.R. 112, according to NPR, has passed as of 5:30 last night as well. House passed what advocates call the most significant gun control measure in more than 2 decades as of last night when it approved the first 2 bills aimed at broadening the federal background check system for firearm purchases. The vote on the first bill, dubbed the Bipartisan Background Check Act of 2019, passed largely among party lines, meaning Democrats voted for it, Republicans voted against it, 240 to 190, with Democrats who control the House cheering as they carried the legislation across the finish line. The second bill, expected to take up as of today, would extend the period federal authorities has come to complete a background check before gun sales can go through. Under current law, if the check isn't finalized in 3 business days, the transaction can automatically proceed. Now, what they're doing is they're extending that background check to say there is no deadline, there is no limit for how long a background check can take. Now, tell me how scary that could potentially be. Right now, you have 3 days. Background check has to be done in 3 days, or else they can continue to purchase that firearm, even without the background check being complete. This bill, H.R. 1112, says, you know what? That's not going to be okay. We can take as long as we need. You know what? 6 months. I got to do it. We're really backed up right now. We have some cuts at the federal level. We actually like to tax breaks, so therefore we don't have enough spending for the ATF. The department's struggling a little bit. We're short-staffed right now. We need to do the background checks. More people are trying to do it, so it's getting backlogged. We have some problems here. Not going to be running as efficiently because we are the federal government. So therefore, we need to have a little bit more time. We probably need a good 6 to 8 months to do your background check. So you go to a gun show, you're trying to purchase your firearm, it's going to be a little difficult. You go to the gun shop, you try and purchase a firearm, you know what, come back in 6 months and you can pick it up. This is going to be okay under H.R. 1112. Now, think of the potential for the Democrats who despise the Second Amendment, for the progressives who despise the Second Amendment. Think of it that way, where we're going to take as long as necessary in order to do that background check. Yeah, you know, we're here for you. We're going to make sure that you're not going to do anything dumb. There may be some type of red flag in there, like, I don't know, you had a spout of depression 2 years ago and you took some medication for it. I don't know. Let's hold off for another 2 to 3 to 4 years for you to purchase that gun, because I don't know if you're really healed yet. I really don't know if you're ready to purchase a firearm yet. So let's hold off a bit. Let's watch you. Let's monitor you, see if you have another bout of depression, see if the doctors think it's okay. Maybe we'll get a doctor's note. Maybe we have to do a government doctor's inspection of you in order to sign off on the fact that you're healthy in order to purchase and own a firearm, because we're looking out for you. We're looking out for your benefit. Is this constitutional? Is this okay? Now, again, both of these bills, H.R. 8 and H.R. 1112, passed the House, or one of them being voted on today, the second one to extend that background check, probably going to pass the House, going on to the Senate. Senate, I'm telling you, call your senators now, because this cannot go any further. This has to be dead on arrival. It has to be dropped, and we cannot move forward with it any longer. This is absurd to think that this would be okay. And Donald Trump, I mean, I don't know. Donald Trump's been relatively well and decent and strong on the Second Amendment. At the same time, though, he did just approve the banning of the bump stock, which is going into effect. So we still have that fight on our hands, because apparently an inanimate object, something that is actually just a piece of plastic that is an accessory to an item, to a tool, is now banned because it's very, very scary and it could potentially harm a lot of people because it's been used under one shooting. And therefore, that's something that we should ban to make ourselves feel very good. So, I don't know. Donald Trump did allow that ban to go through, and he advocated for it. So, who knows if he would sign something like this. Oh, yeah, reaching across the aisle. It's going into political season. We got to try and reach out to the other side just a little bit. It's not going to be that bad. Go ahead and sign. I don't think that would happen, but we need to make sure, right? There's no safety nets. There's no safeguards. This isn't a game. This isn't pretend. This isn't just, oh, well, haha, I guess we'll move on to the next thing. No, this is serious. Everything we talk about is pretty much serious with all of these pieces of legislation, all these bills, all these votes. This is serious business. This literally, and I hate that word literally, but this literally affects the daily lives of you and I, which is why it's a very important issue to address. That's why we need to stay focused on these things. If you try to go and purchase a firearm, which we have the Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association coming in the 8 o'clock hour today, talking about their upcoming gun show next Saturday and Sunday. It's a big deal. You can go and see one of the biggest gun shows in the area. Hundreds of booths, hundreds of guns. You go and you try and buy it. Oh, you know what? You got to do the background check. Background check's not going to be done for 4 months. Come back later. We'll write down your information. That's what we're up against here. Now, how stupid does that sound? 316-721-8255. Let's go to the phones here, shall we? Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, good morning. It's Deacon.
Deacon, what's happening, sir?
Man, you know it's a beautiful day.
Always, every day. Although it's very cold.
It is very cold. And, yeah, it's very cold. I don't know if I'm pretty sure you thought about it, but maybe some other people listening didn't think about it. But this making it a crime to loan a gun or sell a gun.
Yes.
Okay. That automatically has to have a Firearms Registration Act.
Sure.
They have got to be able to track all of your guns, which is against the law.
Right.
So, how far is our representatives planning on going against the law to get against us?
They don't care. They don't care. If it's a federal code that violates another federal code, they can pick and choose again on which ones they want. And yes, it's illegal to register all the firearms and to put that database in and to monitor and watch everybody that has fire. It is against the law to do all of that, but they're going to do it under a different way, saying that it's for the general welfare. It's going to be for the health concerns. It's going to be for the teen suicide watch because, remember, teen suicides are going up, and therefore if we give guns to teenagers who want to go hunting, then that's a potential for them to be shooting themselves and for to commit suicide or commit a big mass shooting or something. So therefore, we need to remember they tried to regulate by putting on scanners and be able to monitor how many bullets and how much ammunition you have in your home as well. They tried that. They tried saying that doctors have the right and the authority to tell you or to ask you how many guns you have in your home because that's a health concern. They try every way they can. They don't care that it violates federal law. They don't care that it's against the Constitution. They don't care. They find a way to do it under another name that sounds all fluffy and feel good, and then they move forward with it as far as they can.
Everybody's like, oh, well, we need to reach across the aisle and work with the other side. Well, every time we work with the other side, we lose our rights.
This is what we get. Yeah.
I mean, not just sometimes. I mean, every time we lose something that we have to fight for years to get back.
Sure.
If we get it back at all. So, everybody's like, oh, I'm not interested in politics. You know what? Politics is interested in you and in your life. And if you don't get interested, your life and all your rights are gone.
Let me ask you, how many times have we created an agency at the federal level and then we decided we didn't want it and we got rid of that agency? Have we ever said, you know what, we're going to shut doors on an agency? Yeah.
I don't think it's ever happened. I mean, we've got things going on that they're not in the Constitution, were never intended, but somewhere along the line, somebody's like, oh, it'd be a great idea to have an agency that regulates cow farts.
Sure. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Shocker, by the way, a national survey does show that the majority of Americans do not agree with the Green New Deal because, well, that's just common sense. So you're absolutely right. Deacon, I appreciate it, my friend. We got to take a break, but happy Thursday to you, brother. Always enjoy chatting with you. 316-721-8255. This is real. And if this goes any further, we could be in a world of hurt when it comes to the Second Amendment. But number one, banning and criminalizing the purchase of private sales for firearms and even lending a firearm to your neighbor or friend or family member, that would be against the law. And then number two, extending the background check to, who knows how long, until the time is where we feel like actually doing our job. It's like the DMV. You can wait as long as you want, baby, but then you're under the world of hurt for the government to choose when they're ready to actually service you. And with the government, depending on what administration's in power and whether they want you to have firearms or not, that could take just a little bit of time, right? Got to take a break. 5 minutes to the top of the hour. This is The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Wednesday proved to be an interesting day. We saw some positives in grains and soybeans through much of the day, but corn and soybeans finished the day lower at the end. Kansas City wheat held on to some small gains on Wednesday. March KC wheat up 3 at 4.38 3/4. May up 1 1/4 at 4.45 1/2. Nice to see those positives. Kansas City wheat's been on such a slide for the last several days, so good to see some plus signs as we wrapped up today. March corn finished Wednesday down 2 1/2 at 3.63 3/4. May down 2 1/4 at 3.73 3/4. Each of the later months also lower. March soybeans down 1/4 cent, 903 1/2. May down 1/4 cent at 916 3/4. We saw some fractional gains in a couple of the other months, but not a lot of movement in soybeans. Still waiting for the most part on trade issues to be resolved. March soybean meal up $1.80 at 3.05. May up $1.90 at 3.09 at 20. Soy oil was down. March bean oil 29 points lower at 29.80. May was down 28 points at 30.12. So all in all, not the best day in the soy complex. Kansas City wheat finished with some small gains. Corn had kind of a tough day. Numbers in the livestock complex were mixed. February live cattle down 17 at 129.40. April unchanged at 129.92. But after that, later months were all green. Not by huge amounts, but everything was positive. March feeder cattle up 42 at 143.87. April up 45 at 147.22. Again, the later months were in the green. Hogs were mixed. April hogs down 12, 55.60, but May hogs up 27 at 65.60. So most of the later months in hogs were also on the upside. So all in all, a mixed day in the livestock complex. Cotton finished up. March cotton 34 points higher at the end at 71.19. May cotton was up 34 points at 72.36. Market information, Mid-America Ag Network.
Right now it still gets cold and it's hard to keep things hot. Pretty soon, though, it'll be hot and hard to keep things cold. Be ready with the latest from Yeti at Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize. When you want the best in temperature control, one name stands above the rest. And when it comes to Yeti, Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize has you covered. From mugs to jugs, coolers to flips, backpacks, and more. Pride Ag Ace Hardware is your Yeti store. The store that takes pride in serving you. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Maize.
To look and feel great and have a successful life, a well-balanced smile is essential. The magic of dentistry provides a great smile and the basis for a healthy life. At Leatherman Dental, they aren't magicians, but they put a great smile on thousands of faces. And it's more than whitening or even straightening. It's being sure the smile is balanced. The dentists at Leatherman Dental take the time to know you, to know the condition of your teeth, and they offer options to give you one healthy, great smile. Magicians? No, but you'll think so when you're done. Leatherman Dental, Woodlawn and 37th Street, or call it 316-685-5121. Top of the hour news coming up in just a minute. Boy, oh boy, lots of stuff to get to. We have our legislative update coming up in hour number 2, plus the alternative energies. Is it good to start regulating and taxing the alternative energies the way that they want to do? That's going to be fun. Joy, all that good jazz. Plus, AOC rocking it with the Cohen hearing last night because she, has a really good understanding of Russian collusion, but she's more concerned about the tax rates of the fact that Donald Trump, the evil rich person, got tax breaks through the government in order to build a golf course. Oh, the travesties, and the taxpayers had to fund it. Okay. 316-721-8255. That's all the weird stuff going on in the world, and it's never a dull moment, let me tell you. Never a dull moment. By the way, you have a chance to win basketball tickets for the Big 12 basketball tournament coming up on March 13th through the 16th. We have some tickets to give away, or at least a pair of tickets to give away. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. Go and register there. We'll have more information throughout the show as well. But a week from today is the deadline to go and drop your name in the box. 6 locations of Hog Wild Pit Barbecue in Wichita, 1 in El Dorado, 1 in Derby. Go and do that for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Big 12 basketball tournament. Coming up, stay here.
This is a Steckline Communications station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, your aircraft maintenance partners at Augusta Municipal Airport. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Thursday. A man is now in custody on suspicion of first-degree murder in connection to the shooting death of a man earlier this month in Wichita. 25-year-old Tanner Mora booked into the Sedgwick County Jail on Tuesday night. Back on the evening of February 6th, the Wichita police called to the parking lot of Genesis Health Club near 13th and West Street, where officers found 22-year-old Lorenzo Wade with a gunshot wound. Wade died at the scene. Police say Wade and Mora were acquaintances and drugs potentially played a part in the shooting. Mora is listed as a parole absconder on the Kansas Department of Corrections website out of Cowley County. Prosecutors say no criminal charges will be filed in the shooting death of a 9-year-old Wichita boy who was playing with a loaded gun he got out of a locked safe. Sedgwick County District Attorney Mark Bennett said yesterday his office will not prosecute either the 11-year-old boy who shot Royale Spencer in the face or the owner of the gun, who had stored it in a gun safe with a malfunctioning lock. That shooting happened back on January 21st in the Stonegate Mobile Home Park in Wichita. Federal prosecutor seeking a 25-year prison sentence for the California man who made a hoax call that led police to fatally shoot a Wichita man following a dispute between online gamers. The government argued in a filing yesterday that 26-year-old Tyler Barris has not shown sincere remorse. It called the scope, nature, and deviousness of his criminal activity staggering, saying he risked innocent life each time he engaged in swatting. Barris facing sentencing tomorrow in federal court in Wichita for making the false report resulting in a death. He's pleaded guilty to 51 charges related to fake calls and threats across the country. Wichita police say the man who was found with a gunshot wound in his vehicle early Sunday morning has died. Police found 27-year-old Hector Ortega in the 1100 block of South Fern around 5 o'clock Sunday morning. He died Tuesday night from his injuries. No suspects yet arrested in the case. I'm Rick Everett from the News Desk. Now sports with Doug Downs.
High school sub-state basketball is underway with both the boys and girls. Last night in boys action, the Derby Panthers knocked off the number 2 seeded team in Class 6A with a 36-point win, 62-26 over Topeka High School. More great action tonight, including the undefeated Mays Eagles taking on Northwest tonight at Mays High School. Our broadcast on KGSO will be Capon facing Bishop Carroll. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off from Bishop Carroll High School. Wichita State Shockers will try to avenge a 20-point loss they had to the Yukon Huskies back on January 26 as Yukon comes to Charles Cook Arena for a 6 p.m. tip. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
And now this message about fully customized vehicle wraps and graphics from Shire Graphics of Park City.
Park City's Shire Graphics has the highest quality of big truck and fleet graphics, from passenger vehicles to the big rigs and everything in between. No matter the size of your fleet, Shire Graphics of Park City is the area's leader in digitally printed vehicle wraps. Superior quality digital vehicle graphics from Shire Graphics, where their niche is your need in vehicle graphics, from single vehicle to fleet. Shire Graphics at shiregraphics.com.
Attention, co-op members. In conjunction with Countryside Motors in Wellington, all co-op members and their families qualify for additional rebates on Chevrolet, Buick, Hustler turf equipment, and Polaris vehicles. This exclusive fleet rebate program is only being offered by Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas. Offers are not being published to the general public. They are available to co-op members in Kansas or Oklahoma. For full details, contact Countryside Motors in Wellington at 620-326-7433 or online at countrysidemotors.net.
Hi ladies, it's Tiffany talking about my all-time favorite home decorating source, Jabara's Flooring Outlet. You've heard of Jabara's Flooring for years. They have the largest selection of carpet, wood, and all your favorite floor coverings in the state. And right now, they are offering a free Sonic Clean Soft Carpet Vacuum with every qualifying carpet purchase. Who doesn't need a new vacuum? Am I right, ladies? So take it from a real shopper, someone who loves a great deal. See Jabara's for your new floors. Like they say, the smartest shoppers shop Jabara's. 17th and North Broadway, Wichita.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
Special report, no deal with North Korea.
They wanted the sanctions lifted in their entirety, and we couldn't do that.
President Trump in Hanoi explaining why there's no deal with North Korea on denuclearization or anything else. Kim Jong-un offering to reduce, not eliminate his nuclear weapons program if the U.S. removed all economic sanctions. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
Unfortunately, we didn't get all the way. We didn't get to something that ultimately made sense for the United States of America. I think Chairman Kim was hopeful that we would. We asked him to do more. He was unprepared to do that.
Pompeo says talks will continue.
I'm still optimistic. I'm hopeful that the teams will get back together in the days and weeks ahead.
The president and Kim canceled their scheduled lunch and, with nothing to sign, scrapped the signing ceremony. President Trump is now flying back to Washington, calling South Korea's President Moon from Air Force One to say that he regrets the summit's collapse. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Derby Mattress. No dancing animals, no gimmicks. Your locally owned hometown mattress store at 105 South Baltimore in Derby.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Mostly sunny and 35, wind chill down to 0. Tonight, increasing clouds and 23. Tomorrow, warmer, mostly sunny and 48. Mostly cloudy and 23 for tomorrow night. Mostly cloudy and 34 again Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:06, it's currently 15 degrees.
Drive home with Joe Pags. The Joe Pags Show, live at 5 on the Big Talker, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
It has officially come to Kansas, changing your birth certificate to change the gender. Pretty soon it's going to be having that option to have gender neutral or no gender at all in order for you to choose what gender you want to be. When you get older, you get to be 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years old, and you choose to be what gender you want. That opens up the Pandora's box for the bathroom usage, and yet it's coming here. Why? Because the progressives think, hey, why not?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 2 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV. We are rocking it on YouTube Live. Go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio. We see a lot of people jumping on there this morning, which we appreciate very much, and we love having you along for the ride. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK if you want to join into the ABC Recycling Hotlines. We'd love to hear from you today. This half hour of the broadcast brought to you by Countryside Motors. Short drive down the turnpike for big savings. Make sure to check out the Buick and Chevy cars and trucks, along with the Polaris and Hustler ATV and turf equipment. They do have the full service, by the way, as well, for Polaris, Hustler equipment, Chevy, Buick vehicles, doesn't matter. They have the complete service and parts department for everything that you need. Just down the road, Wellington, Kansas, online at countrysidemotors.net. Again, countrysidemotors.net. All right, there's a lot coming up today. We have the Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association coming on the program at 8 a.m. today. I love it. They always bring in their firearms, and they always bring in the good stuff. They have their gun show coming up next weekend. We'll have more information on that. Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins, he'll be joining us at 8:30 as well, as it is the last Thursday of the month, so we have that going on just as much. But I want to get to some legislative updates today, so what do you say? Let's get to our Kansas update.
Today in Kansas.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So there has been a lot of craziness this year, as you know, and we'll have some more legislators coming on the program here very soon. But there is a topic that's been mulled around and being debated in Topeka as of right now when it comes to energy, wind energy, solar energy, the regulation of alternative energy, which, as you know, as conservatives, we're not ones, we come across as anti-alternative energy, and that's just not the case. And this goes into the platform of the Republican Party, the voice, the messaging that we send out, the PR that we have, the stances that we take, and we need to be very clear on our stances, because we're not anti really anything. If the free market wills it, if the free market wants it, then we allow it to happen, because there will be a way for the consumers to meet their demand based on entrepreneurship and based on, free market enterprise. Craziness, right? I know socialism doesn't do that. They have to force it to happen. We allow it to happen naturally, and when it happens naturally, it grows better and it's more secure and things happen, and we just allow things to kind of do its own thing. And alternative energy is one of those. Look, I am all for solar panels. I am all for wind power. I am all for water energy. I'm all for whatever. Anything that creates the entrepreneurship, the invention, the idealism of someone to say, you know what, here's a new way for us to collect energy and to utilize it. I'm all for that. If someone comes up with a really cool way, I want to hear it. Here's the kicker. Unlike the progressives, unlike the enviro nuts, we don't force it. We don't force the change. We allow it to happen naturally. The Green New Deal from AOC, the craziness that's going on with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Now time for the Crazy Cortez Corner.
The Green New Deal, to say that we're going to be off oil in the next 10 years is not going to happen. To say that we're going to end flight and air travel is not going to happen. The idea of rebuilding every single building in the entire nation to make them environmentally sound is not going to happen. To make every car on the road a smart car is not going to happen. It's unrealistic, it's dumb, it's irresponsible, and it's nothing more than massive government control. That's the only way to look at it. But if it happens down the road, if it happens naturally, if it's happening in a means where it's cost effective for the consumer, and the consumer can purchase a vehicle that's within their budget in order to do it, they will do so. If individuals have the ability to afford a solar panel or a wind power generator or a windmill or something in their backyard in order to cut the cost of electricity in their electric use, they will do so because it happened naturally, not forced upon you. Right now, solar panel and wind energy, both of them are nice, but none of them are near enough capable of being able to produce the energy it's needed to take the place of oil and natural gas. It's just not possible. It's not feasible right now. So we allow it to continue to grow, to evolve, to see the technological increases that we have, the advancements that we have, see if there's other ways to do this, a little bit better ways to do this, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'm not for 100% saying we must do oil, and I'm not for 100% we must do alternative energy. It doesn't work that way. You have to find that happy medium. But what we have now, which is very strange, is that we have the government forcing it upon us, then at the same time punishing us because of it. And we've had this discussion in the past about the solar panels and how the solar panels and the alternative energy for solar is fine, but then the electric rates in the public utilities are saying, well, now you're not using as much electricity, so therefore we get to charge you at a higher rate for what you do use, so that way we can offset the cost for everybody else because you're the rich and elite and you need to pay your fair share. Let me repeat that. You have a public utility company that is a public option. You can choose to buy into it. It's offering you a service. It's not guaranteed. It's not mandatory. It's not forced upon you. It is something where if you choose to use it. Remember, if you don't pay your electric bill, your electricity gets shut off. It's very simple. If you choose not to use it, it gets shut off. If you have a vacant home, it gets shut off. It's not a mandatory forced upon you type of tyranny that is a public utility company. So why would they have the ability to charge someone if you have a solar panel on your home or on your business or somewhere and you use less electricity? Why would they have any right to charge you at a higher rate to say you need to pay your fair share to offset the cost for other people because we connected the lines to you, but you're not using it, so therefore we got to charge you for it anyways? That doesn't make any sense to me. Now we're seeing, taking it a step further, we're one of the top 5 states, by the way, in the country that utilizes wind energy, that produces the windmills, that actually has wind power generation. And Governor Sam Brownback, trigger warning, trigger! Very scary guy. Remember, he's that evil, fascist, Nazi, Republican, hateful, bigoted jerk that, just hates puppy dogs and children, apparently. He's the one that really brought in and really opened the door for alternative energies like wind power to come into the state of Kansas. And now we're number 5 in the country that produces wind power. That's a good thing. That's because I don't know if you noticed or not, but it's kind of windy in Kansas. It's kind of windy in Kansas, just to let you know, FYI, if you have not figured that out. But now we have legislation being proposed that is trying to regulate much of this. And I want to open up the lines to you to see what your thoughts on this are. But there is a claim that low-frequency sounds produced by wind farms, the humming of the windmill as it turns, the low-frequency sound is having health effects on individuals. I believe the proposed legislation to restrict wind farm development would trample some of the rights and some of the property owners who want to do this, but is having health effects on individuals. Now, I don't know what kind of health effects this is having, But according to some lawmakers, the low-frequency sound in the humming is causing adverse health effects. The idea that I would put people in jeopardy for health is totally offensive, according to some members who actually like the wind farms for their farms and for their own private property. But the House Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications are considering a bill introduced by Representative Randy Garber, a Republican even, from this side of the aisle, that would require any new wind turbines to be placed at least 1.5 miles away from a residency and 3 miles from an airport, park, or hunting area. To me, that just sounds a little crazy. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor. I've never heard of the adverse health effects on the humming. I did a little Google search, and it didn't come up with a whole lot. I tried to figure out but I don't understand why there's a health effect, apparently, by some saying, but now they want to me, this is the way I see this. They went after the solar panels by saying, oh, you know what, the solar panels, not allowed to have solar panels. You know, we're going to charge you higher with the utility rates so that way we can compensate and have you pay for a higher rate for electric use so that way you can pay your fair share. So that way we can minimize people that actually want to actually use the solar panels. Now with the wind farms, you can't really do the same thing. You could try it. I'm sure the public utilities are trying it. But then also you have to keep it away from residencies. I don't get it. Maybe I'm missing something here, so let's go to the phones and get your thoughts. But the reason why we have some type of regulation to now try and kill off the wind energy and the wind production here in the state of Kansas, to me, just doesn't make any sense. 316-721-8255. Let's go to the phones here. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, Andy.
What's going on, Sean? How we doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm going to go to River City Cafe here in a little bit, give me some breakfast.
Hey, that's a good day right there. I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, I had something I was going to tell you about, something else, but I'll go ahead and give you my opinion right quick on these wind farms.
Yeah, let's stick on that for a second. What's on your mind?
Well, I hate those damn wind turbines.
Oh, you do?
And,
okay.
Oh yeah, and I know how to get rid of the thing.
How's that?
We'll tell environmental activists that the things cause climate change and also kill gay people. That ought to get rid of the wind farm.
Well, you could do that. You know what's really going to get rid of them is if the animal rights, the PETA groups, the people eating the tasty animals, if you tell them that it's continuing to kill birds, which I love the environmentals being stuck between the rock and the hard places. They always are. There's always stuck between the conundrum of hypocrisy because that's the way they roll, is that, we love alternative energies, but windmills are bad because they're harming the birds. And apparently there is a story that I did see, and Sean, I appreciate it. I want to get some more phone calls here. There is a story online talking about how the humming that does create that low volume, that low sound from the windmill actually attracts birds. So as the bird hears the humming and hears the sound, they go towards the windmill kills them, and then now the animal rights activists are really upset about this. So that is their latest argument. At the same time saying we need alternative energies. I'm really waiting to hear some kind of substantial discussion from the left side of the aisle because I just don't understand this. Now, this bill that we're having here obviously doesn't address the bird issue, but it's saying it's having health effects to humans, which I have not heard before, which is why we can still build them. They just have to be away from any residency or park or hunting ground or anything of that sort, which to me is just a little silly. So appreciate it, Sean. Let's go back to the phones, get some more phone calls in here, shall we? Line number 2 on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Andy. This is Jeff.
Jeff, good morning, sir. What's going on?
Yeah, to quote Ben Shapiro, everything is stupid. There is no reason we need to have solar panels or windmills or any of this other stuff. We have nuclear power.
Mm-hmm.
We have the ability to create all of the electricity our hearts desires in this. The only thing standing in the way of nuclear power is the looming left-wing fear of our inability to contain our nuclear waste and all that. We have the technology to deal with this.
Right.
There's no reason we need to be putting up windmills or any of this stuff. There's just no reason for it. We should be building more nuclear reactors, nuclear power plants. Every state should add 2 nuclear reactors, and boom, there's
Sure.
no windmills. There's none of this stuff. We have the ability to do it. We just don't have the will to do it yet.
Sure.
People need to get educated on nuclear power the safe use of it, the ability to build nuclear. We have not built a brand new nuclear power plant
in years,
in like over 40 years.
Yeah,
it's
been
crazy.
ridiculous. No, you're absolutely. I would completely. I 110% agree with you on the nuclear power. And again, as I go back to my original statement here, introducing this, is that we need to allow the market to grow naturally with whatever resource it takes in order for us to have efficient energy, sustainable energy, and then we can continue to grow and advance. And you're right. I think that nuclear energy would be the way to go in many cases. I do, however, believe that if a private citizen in their home wants to build a solar panel on their home to cut costs and do it and be off the grid to live on their own individually, and they do that, then they should have the right to do that. I have no problem with that. What I do have the problem with is when the government comes and says, you know what, this is the alternative energy. This is more environmentally sound and friendly, and now we're going to force the entire community to be on this, and your rates are going to go up because it's really expensive and it's not very efficient. Your power reliability may go down depending on weather circumstances or if we have issues because it's not that sustainable as of yet. But it's going to be way better than natural gas and oil and nuclear energy, so therefore we're going to go for it. But you're right. As a nation as a whole, for our communities and for the public sector, then why don't we go towards as well the best ways to be efficient, which is natural gas, which is oil, and which is nuclear? And if we go down that road, then I think we'd be better off all around.
Yeah, and I agree 100% with you as far as what private citizens want to do. I have no problem with that just as a general rule because I support and default to freedom on that stuff. But when it comes to, there's a lot of farms in Illinois that are putting up windmills because they can make money off it. A lot of farmers are selling their land or foregoing their agricultural pursuits to allow the windmills to go up. And I know the same thing's happening in Kansas.
Sure.
But they're doing that because there's government interference in that marketplace that makes it so lucrative.
Sure.
It probably is not as lucrative if it weren't for all the government subsidy tie-ins that are in there. If those were just made to stand on their own. I mean, one of the things that I understand about the windmills themselves is that they have to have either nuclear, coal, or natural gas backup up to 90%. Because the wind doesn't always blow, and when the wind's not blowing, electricity isn't stored in batteries.
Right.
You have to be moving magnets past coils of wire to generate electricity, and that's a nonstop thing in order to have electricity.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right. You're spot on, Jeff. That's
a huge cost.
And that's something where the resources, the advancement, the technology isn't quite there yet. It's a good concept. It's a good idea. People have used it for years, but it's not something to be completely self-sustaining, which is why forcing communities in the public sector onto it is not a good idea. If people want to do it to minimize the amount of electricity in the grid that they have to use, then all the power to them. But it's not something to be self-sustaining. So, Jeff, I appreciate it. I want to sneak in some more phone calls here, but you're spot on. I appreciate it very much. Got to take a break. 23 minutes past the hour. All the lines are lit up. Give us a call, 316-721-8255. I want to hear from you on this. The alternative energies, the regulation, is it killing off regulation, or is it killing off the incentive to go alternative as a private citizen, as a private individual who may want to put solar panels on, who may want to put windmills on, or is this a way for us to preserve what's actually right, what's efficient, what's working? Your thoughts on this. I want to hear from you. This is The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Mead. One official says we will probably be seeing cuts to USDA's 2020 budget. Stephanie Ho brings us that story.
Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue is warning of proposed cuts to USDA's 2020 budget.
See the budget come out pretty soon, and there will be a conservative budget, and we've done our best to advocate for farmers in that way, and we'll continue to do that way.
He was asked about recent comments by the OMB director that there would be across-the-board cuts of 5%.
They're going to be more than 5%?
Yes.
At the same time, he gave few details of where he thinks the cuts will come.
I've encouraged the president of OMB to submit a budget that would be within the realm of negotiation there. Congress has gotten, not just this administration, but previously, I think, to just totally disregard it.
He added that he does not want to get ahead of the president on budget matters.
I don't feel that wrong about you all asking and trying to get that out, but the budget will be out when it's out, and you'll be able to see all those stories.
Secretary Perdue spoke on the sidelines of a national meeting of the School School Nutrition Association. This is Stephanie Hope in Washington, D.C.
In other news, a group of industry and agriculture companies and associations have launched the USMCA Coalition, an effort to see the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement through ratification. The USMCA Coalition is a collection of more than 200 organizations, including the United States Chamber of Commerce, the American Farm Bureau Federation, and the Association of Equipment Manufacturers, with an objective to, quote, secure congressional approval, end quote, of the trade agreement. AEM President Dennis Slater says completing the trade agreement will guarantee the North America's manufacturing competitiveness and support 1.5 million jobs across the United States and Canada. Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network.
Hello, cattlemen. This is Brady Larson with Larson Angus Ranch. I'd like to invite you to our 15th annual Carcass Without Compromise bull sale on our new sale date of Thursday, March the 7th. We're selling a great set of bulls this year, sired by the leading AI sires Payweight, Stud, Rampage, Surefire, Confidence Plus, and more. Call for a catalog at 785-891-3748 or go to LarsonAngusRanch.com to get an online view of the catalog. I look forward to seeing you at the ranch 14 miles south of Wallace, Kansas on March the 7th.
Good morning. This is Kerry at the El Dorado Livestock Auction. We're going to have a good run of grazing cattle this week for our special grazing cattle sale. Some of our featured consignments will be 225 head of black home-raised steer and heifer calves that have been a long time weaned that'll be weighing 5 to 650. We'll have a group of 160 steer and heifer calves that have been weaned a long time that have been out on wheat. That'll be weighing 550 to 7, and I've got a deal of 110 black steer and heifer calves that'll be weighing 6 to 700. If you have any questions about any of our consignments on our consignment list, give us a call at 316-320-3212, and you can see a full list of all our consignments for this week on our website, which is www.eldoradolivestockauction.com.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is The Big Talker, KQAM.
According to PBS, in a report on the health risks and windmills, based on the humming and the sounds or whatever, that there have been 25 separate peer-reviewed studies that have found living near wind turbines impose no risk on human health. Studies looked at the range of health effects from hearing loss, nausea, sleep disorders, dizziness, blood pressure, and more. And they found zero zilch nada of having health risks near wind turbines. So is this political shenanigans to try and regulate alternative energies, as we've seen with solar panels, or is this a legit concern that we have about not having a windmill near an actual home? Let's go back to the phones here, shall we? Line number 3. Good morning. What's your name?
Hi, this is Kirk.
Hey, good morning, sir. How we doing?
Doing well, and you?
Hey, living the dream every day.
Hey, I just wanted to address the nuclear thing a little bit. I think it's a good idea, but there are still, some issues. You look at Fukushima, they still haven't figured that thing out yet. It's still dumping, in the ocean, and then you look at Chernobyl. They had to build a big old cover to cover that thing up, and I think it's a good idea. I just think I don't know that you could build 2 in every state, and avoid the natural disasters. You got California, potential earthquake, and things like that. I think until they can figure out how to deal with the long-term effects, you got to be careful with it.
Sure. And I mean, we always need to be concerned about the potential risk of it leaking or exploding or something crazy happening with it, and that's always something to be concerned. But I think right now, with how many people have been scared of it, I don't think we've even gone forward with trying to find better ways to utilize nuclear, have we? I mean, I'd like the idea, and if we continue to allow it to grow and evolve and advance the way it should, we'd be fine, because we'd find better ways to contain it, make sure it doesn't have any issues. But we've kind of stalled all type of progress on nuclear energy, which I don't think is benefiting everybody, is it?
Well, that may be the case, but it's not just us. I mean, maybe we can build one that's self-contained and not going to be a problem. But you got to worry about the other countries too. I mean, there's fallout from if they're not building them safely and things like that. So it's
they got to do it the right way.
Fukushima, it's kind of like Fukushima is kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But I still don't think. I don't think that'll be cleaned up in, my lifetime or, my kid's lifetime.
Yeah, that's going to take some time. Going to take some time. Hey, too good job. We got a bottom of the hour break here, but you're right. We'll talk about some of that when we come back here. Stay tuned. This is the Voice of Reason.
The KQAM News Desk.
Special report. No deal with North Korea. Kim Jong-un was willing to partially follow through, or so he claims, with denuclearization, but without a full commitment. President Trump was unwilling to lift sanctions.
It was the question of the day, and one Kim Jong-un did answer sitting across the table from President Trump. Is he willing to denuclearize?
If I'm not willing to do that, I won't be here right now.
Good answer. In return, however, Kim wanted crippling sanctions lifted before moving forward with what the president hinted afterward was some kind of partial denuclearization.
They were willing to denuke a large portion of the areas that we wanted, but we couldn't give up all of the sanctions for that.
South Korea's presidential office says President Trump has expressed firm commitment to continue negotiations. The president on Air Force One is on his way back to Washington at this hour. I'm John Trout.
Mark your calendars, bargain fashion fans, and get ready to rock with Gordman's during our 2019 grand opening tour. New stores are popping up all over, and we're celebrating in epic style at all our Gordman's all month long. We're lining up new trends, home decor galore, and fun VIP giveaways, plus everyday deals that will be music to your ears. Gordman's always has the goods, but bargain shoppers like you are the life of this party. So drop by today and find out what happens when frugal meets fierce. Bigger deals, smaller prices. Hashtag got it at Gordman's.
Introducing new life-proof, slip-resistant wood-look porcelain tile from the Home Depot. Starting at just $1.99 a square foot, it's 50% more slip-resistant than ordinary tile. It's waterproof, stain-proof, scratch-resistant, and works indoors or out. Step confidently in your kitchen, bathroom, patio, or any area of your home with new life-proof, slip-resistant porcelain tile. Just $1.99 a square foot, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Selection varies by store. Slip resistance based on tiles that meet a DCOF less than or equal to 0.42.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Thursday. Police in Hayes are searching for a suspect in the fatal shooting of another man. Police say officers responding to a domestic disturbance call in Hayes last night found a 26-year-old man dead from a gunshot wound. His identity has not been released. Authorities say they're searching for Ryan Paul Thompson, who fled the scene of the shooting before officers arrived. The Hayes Post reports Thompson has previous convictions for burglary, aggravated endangerment of a child, and drug charges. Some conservative Republican legislators in Kansas opposing a bill that would give the state's top parks official more flexibility in setting rental fees for cabins at state parks and fishing lakes. The Senate approved the measure yesterday on a 29-11 vote. Some conservatives objected to eliminating a $250 per night cap on rental fees, and one senator questioned why the state is in the cabin rental business. Mid-America Network News. Riverside Cafe, whether it's the two Wichita locations or in Derby, is proud of their all-day breakfast. It's what's helped make Riverside Cafe famous. And now for you early birds, from 6 to 9, you can pick any four for just $4. Sausage link, hash browns, slice of bacon, 3 silver dollar pancakes, quarter biscuit with gravy, a sausage patty, slice of buttered toast, any four, only $4. From 6 to 9 every morning. Pick 4 for $4 at Riverside Cafe, 9125 West Central and 13th and Bidding in Wichita.
Not that type of hitch. We're talking receiver hitches. Gooseneck Hitches, fifth wheel hitches by B&W, Reese, Kurt, and Draw Tight. Toppers Plus also has leveling kits by Ready Lift in stock and ready for your truck. Work or play, make your truck work for you. Toppers Plus, 5511 West Central in Wichita, or toppersplusks.com.
Make your truck work for you.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Mostly sunny and 35, wind chill down to 0. Tonight, increasing clouds and 23. Tomorrow, warmer, mostly sunny and 48. Mostly cloudy and 23 for tomorrow night. Mostly cloudy and 34 again Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:34, it's currently 15 degrees.
This segment of the Voice of Reason on KQAM brought to you by Riverside Cafe, home of the 3-pound burger and hand-cut fries, plus breakfast all day long. 2 Wichita locations and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Riverside Cafe. listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Right on! Let's do it! Rock that world! Rock that world!
Give him a call at 721-TALK.
It's kind of funny seeing the discussion coming up, and I really love it, about the nuclear power, about whether that's a good or bad idea, with the concerns that we have still with the leaking of the nuclear power plants and what could potentially happen there. I think that and look, here's the thing, I haven't heard about nuclear power in a long time. No one's talking about it any longer. No one's talking about the nuclear power, on the advancements on different but you got to remember, I mean, countries like France, at least the last time I remembered, which was a couple of years ago, France actually had 80% of their entire power for the entire nation of France by nuclear energy, and they were all about the energy efficiency. And I mean, as you know, France is a little bit more on the left side of the aisle, but 80% of their energy in the country was actually produced by nuclear power plants. So, which is very fascinating. To get a message from Jonah on Facebook about the vacuum cleaners and fans in your home have hums as well. Is there any health concerns for that? That's kind of where I'm at with this. Why would that be a health concern with a hum of a windmill behind your home going, and apparently that causing concerns? Unless, of course, it's the victimhood status of the people like, oh, I hear the hum, I can't sleep. I don't know. Maybe there's an issue. But according to the studies that we've seen, that they've done 25 different peer review studies, according to PBS, and none of them found any health risks or concern that would affect sleeping habits or hearing or any other issues. There's just nothing happening. So I'm not sure where they're getting their information to want to try and put a separation of 1.5 miles away from any type of resident and 3 miles away from any type of hunting ground or anything like that. I don't get it. Animals are still going to be walking around it, so why? I don't get it. This half hour of the broadcast brought to you by Riverside Cafe. 3 locations in the area, 2 in Wichita, 1 in Derby, 9125 West Central Avenue in Wichita, 739 West 13th Street, and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. We have your complimentary breakfast that we'll give away before the end of this segment, so stay tuned in for that. We're going to have a fun way to do that here in just a bit, so stay tuned in. It'll be pretty great. Also, I do have, and we'll do it before the end of the show, probably the end of this hour, we have another pair of Metallica tickets. Yeah, baby. We got 1 more to give away today and 1 more to give away tomorrow, and that's it. The show's on Monday night, so we have Metallica that we'll give away a pair of tickets to that here in just a bit. 316-721-8255. Let's sneak in some more phone calls here. What do you say? Line number 1 on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. Good morning. Who's this?
Hello, Andy. This is Helen again.
Helen, go for it. What do you got?
Okay, well, I have a question. How do we know that, I've heard that a lot of this wind generator power and this nuclear generated power is being sold to other states. So how much is it really benefiting Kansas?
Well, I mean, it's benefiting us financially. It's we're creating the business. We are generating the jobs to be able to produce the windmills. So we are seeing some benefit from there. Now, the energy itself, we are using a little bit ourselves, but you're right. We are sending it outside of the state as well. So I think that goes to a benefit in both our favors, that we get to produce job creation. We get to create some economic ability to grow a little bit. We get a whole new industry coming in, and then I think we should use it more in the state, but we also get to send it outside of the state, which I think is a benefit as well.
Well, hopefully you're right.
Oh, hopefully. That would be really nice. I appreciate it, Helen, very much. 316-721-8255. Let's go back to it. Line number 2. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, happy Thursday.
Myron, good morning, sir. How are we doing?
I am doing fantastic. You know that. Always am.
Always good.
In answer to your question, the reason you don't hear about nuclear power plant advancement is because we don't do them in the U.S. Engineering companies in the U.S. design and build them and have kept improving them.
Sure.
And, the French may have the nuclear plants, but they may not have been French designed. My brother-in-law worked at an engineering company that did power plants.
Sure.
Now, he wasn't on the nuclear team. He was on the coal and gas operations.
Mm-hmm.
But they were still engineering. And Fukushima, there were problems that they never anticipated. I mean, who puts their pumps that need their alternative power pumps underwater? When the wave hit, all of their backup power was shorted out and couldn't be used, and it was the lack of power that caused the problems of Fukushima.
Sure. Well, and that again goes into, okay, you know what, we tried it, we made a mistake, and now we need to figure out how to not do that again. And that's the advancement. That's the trial and error that the free market has, and that's how we get things better.
And when it breaks, it does cause a lot of problems. And in answer to your about the windmills, it's just a reminder that you don't own the land. The government owns the land. So if they don't want you to build, if somebody doesn't want you to build a windmill, they can tell you not to.
No,
and I'm sorry.
No, you're saying if someone even on a private property, like if a farm chooses to do it on their own property, that's government land?
Sure. Don't pay your taxes, and what happens?
Well, I mean, that is true. There, you got a point on that one.
The government controls your land. You can't plant that here. You can't put that there. You got to build single-family houses. You can't build duplexes.
That is true. I mean, it all goes through the permits. It all goes through the applications and the registrations. You're right. I mean, the government, I guess if you want to look at it that way, really does control it. I would think, though, that if I had my own personal private property and I wanted to put a solar panel or a windmill or a nuclear plant on well, I guess that one's even a little more rigorous, but if you want to do that, you should have the right to be able to build what you want to on your property because that's your own property, and no one can tell you otherwise. I'm telling you that if someone tries to tell me what to do with my property with like an HOA or something, I am putting a toilet flower pot in my front yard for everybody to see. Because they're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do with my private property. And if you want to make an issue out of it, then it's going to turn into a real toilet, a usable toilet, instead of just a flower pot. So, Myron, I appreciate the call very much. It drives me nuts. I don't understand why the government feels like they have to control every aspect of your life. And, I mean, name one thing in life that is not regulated, that is not taxed, that is not subsidized or controlled. It doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Picking your nose, I think, was up there, but that's about one of those. But still, I mean, you use the tissues or something. I don't know. Let's go back to it. Line number 3. Good morning. Who's this?
Morning, brother. It's Joe.
Joe, what's happening, sir? How we doing?
Hey, man. Real quick, if your listeners want to learn a little bit about nuclear, they can go on YouTube. There's some really good documentaries, but look up molten salt reactor. It's the one that lost out to the current style of reactors. The cool thing about the molten salt reactors are they can actually use the spent fuel from the other reactors and run just as efficiently. They have a lot less chance of having the nuclear runaway like we do now. There's just a whole lot of benefits to it. But the current guy, the guy back in the 60s that decided it, it all came down to money and his choice. And because they could put them in submarines, that's why they went with the current version that we use now.
Sure.
My question is, with Wolf Creek, I looked it up. It was like $590 million to build Wolf Creek. My question is, how many natural gas generators could we have built and met or exceeded the current need of electrical use without doing a nuclear thing? I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence. I like the molten salt version. They both have their pluses and minuses, but now as far as the wind and solar go, I'm all in favor of it. I think that you're going to find extremes on both sides. Everybody's going to say, well, it makes this, it does this, and the other side's going to say, no, it doesn't.
Sure.
You're going to, if you're wondering about something, you can drive less than an hour from Wichita, especially going south, and you can find a wind generator. Go just stand next to it.
Yeah.
You can listen to it. You can stand right there and go, okay, it makes a little bit of noise.
But Joe, that noise is going to make you go delirious. It's going to make you start seeing things, and it's probably going to cause the next zombie apocalypse.
Well, then I'm curious about this. I live in Newton, where there are 1 million trains that run through my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
How come I'm not going delirious because of all the train whistles and the trains that go by? And the people who live next to highways and subways, the L in Chicago, those people must be insane.
It's the ticking bomb inside you, the aneurysm you're about to have at some point to where it's going to turn into like the Bird Box on Netflix where you're going to randomly start walking in front of the train because of the train humming and sound and the horns that cause an issue every day. I mean, this is the scare tactic that apparently some are having. I think I don't know, Joe, real quick, I think maybe there's an alternative motive to try and stop some of the increase of use of wind energy.
There is. There's a huge you've got the people. Trust me, KG&E does not want us to go to all these alternatives because what's coming down the line is there's things I can get into a half-hour long deal just talking to you about battery storage and stuff that's coming down the pipe. I'm telling you, the world as we know it is about to change in the next 5 to 10 years, and it's actually for us as consumer way better, way better.
Sure,
not necessarily for think about it. But anyway, I don't want to take up all your time, but just some things for your viewers to think about. And go look up the molten salt reactor on YouTube. Excellent video, lasts about an hour. So. Thanks, brother. Have a great and blessed day, man.
Hey, love it, Joe. Always appreciate the call. And I have heard of that as well. I didn't look into it much. I don't know much about it, but I have heard of it. So you're right. It's an interesting, fascinating idea for the alternative way for the nuclear power to begin to advance and actually see some advancements in that sector. So we'll see whether it happens or not. I don't know. It'd be really interesting. Let's go back to it. 316-721-8255 on the ABC Recycling Hotlines. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Doug.
Hey, Doug. What's going on, sir?
Oh, I'm listening to that guy just talked to hit it right on the head, Andy.
Sure.
And the reason they should let people experiment with that stuff and everything, windmill and all of it, and we've always done this, is to get the bugs out of stuff to make it work better.
Sure.
And look at Edison. Look at Edison when he was doing all his experiments with light and electricity. He had everybody scared to death.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And the government didn't come down on him and throw a bunch of regulations out there. Their whole purpose is to control the money. If they can't get that money going into their pocket, then they don't want us doing it. If it's good for us and cheap for us,
they
don't want
like
that.
it. Yeah, they don't like that. It's the power and it's the money. You're right. It's the money because the public
Right.
utilities don't want to lose people actually going off the grid and going self-dependent and doing their own thing. We're
Exactly.
actually seeing, it's kind of fascinating, as we're seeing an advancement for like a socialist mindset and an expansion of government and this one world idea and how we all need to be in unison and everybody in the centralized idea. We're seeing individualism come out of this as well, of more people going back towards the individual level. I want to live off the grid. I want to get solar panels. I want to get windmills. I want to be self-dependent myself because I have the right to do so, because I think it's cheaper, it's going to be cost-effective, I don't have to live on the grid and use electricity when it's unsustainable, and we're seeing people do that, and the government doesn't like that. It's about the money for the utility company who's losing people actually wanting to be on it, and it's the power and the control that the government has over you saying, wait a second, now we don't have a way to regulate and oversee you based on you being locked into a community grid.
Yeah, that's why they want you to have the dual reverse meters so they can get that extra.
That's true. Those smart meters are
Well,
kind of weird. Yeah.
Anyway, Andy, and as far as the waves and all the signals and all the sound and all that stuff, you need an aluminum hat. You just get you an aluminum hat and put that on and wear it. I've been wearing one for a couple months now, and I feel a lot better about things. My head seems to be a little clearer.
You know what?
And everything, so
It is cold outside, so maybe it'll keep the warmth in there a little bit, too. I'll start working on some. You know what? We should have some Voice of Reason aluminum hats that will sell, and that's what we should do. That way we can keep the warmth in and keep the brain cells in.
Yeah, I'll just take the saran wrap and pull it over my dome piece.
See? There you go.
Try to figure, Anyway, I'm going to let you go, Andy. Thank you.
I love it. Doug, I appreciate the phone call very much, my friend. 316-721-8255. There it is. We'll come up. The new Voice of Reason product, the Voice of Reason aluminum hats, to make sure the government can't read your brains. Yeah, let's go back, sneak in two more calls. We got some breakfast we got to give away, Riverside Cafe as well. Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, good morning, sir. It's Drew.
Drew, what's going on, sir? How we doing?
Good, excellent.
Good.
Excellent. Hey, so Joe is on to some good information that we need to pay attention to in lots of areas. One of the reasons why the wind thing is not effective is because it is propped up tremendously.
Yes.
The cost to make the windmills is much more than the power that they will ever produce during their lifetime. They do generate an electrical interference field that does affect, and it's not necessarily the human effect, but other things around it. And by the way, if you want to see how a good racket works, go ahead and look at your West Star bill, because they were generously offering me this last week to go ahead and make a portion of my electrical bill for wind power if I'd like to pay extra for it.
Yeah, you got to pay extra for it, sure.
Yeah, and by the way, as far as France goes, one of the leading products in France is their used nuclear materials. I mean, the amount of waste that France has off of their materials is less than a teaspoon a year.
Right.
They use the rest of it as for many other products that they sell and make good money on.
Yeah, they found a way to utilize it. And again, 80% of the country in their self-efficiency of a nation, 80% of it's based on that nuclear power, and they've done a very good job. Why don't we base our ideas off that? I don't get why the progressives love France when it comes to their progressive values, but they don't like the fact that they're very energy efficient with nuclear power because they're hypocrites, number one. So wait, I want to go back real quick, and we got about 30 seconds here. But you said that when you get your Westar Energy bill, they're offering you to get electricity from them that was generated by wind power, but it's more expensive to do so?
Yeah, you get to pay an extra surcharge for that. So, and that makes real sense if we are going ahead and selling it to other states. I'm paying to sell. So Westar can make a big.
But what does that accomplish? Like, just to feel better knowing that your energy coming into your house is produced by energy?
You got it. By the way, on the feel better side of things, this is the part where I was mentioning Joe's on to something. They have gone ahead. If you look at the batteries that go in our electric cars and stuff, where they produce those the ecological impact is horrible. They have recently worked out technology that uses a much more inert substance. I don't know. I don't remember what it is. It's bubble gum or something. I don't know what it was. But the point is, it is cheap. It is not damaging the ecology around the plants that produce it, and it is more effective. But the problem we're going to have is, as you pointed out, is the market. Because stop and think about what it took to get us to where we're all using LED bulbs now. How much did the fluorescent twisty bulbs cost us? And then once the LEDs hit, how much did they cost? LEDs are cheap to produce.
Right.
It's just the light bulb companies were going to be losing years worth of profit. So they had to do something. So, the market's going to be the big obstacle as well as the big innovator.
Well, it's going to be the biggest innovator because it's going to create ways to make things efficient. It's going to be the biggest obstacle to nothing more than, I think, the government, because the government wants to force something to happen that's not quite ready to be there. It's like kicking the bird out of the nest before it's ready to fly, and then you see it splattered on the ground. But, hey, we tried. We forced it upon you. Craziness. All right, let's do this. 316-721-8255. We have your complimentary breakfast hat tip to Riverside Cafe. Breakfast all day long. And let me tell you what, at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I am always hungry for some eggs and hash browns. That is awesome to me. I love it. I could do it every day. But they have your complimentary breakfast. You can get it all day long. 2 locations in Wichita, 1 in Derby. Let's do caller number 3, 316-721-8255. We'll get you your breakfast from Riverside Cafe and KQAM Radio. Stay here.
Hey, you. Thanks for checking out my video. I do appreciate the time you take out of your life to go on YouTube.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
I'll see you later.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Wednesday proved to be an interesting day. We saw some positives in grains and soybeans through much of the day, but corn and soybeans finished the day lower at the end. Kansas City wheat held on to some small gains on Wednesday. March KC wheat up 3 at 438 3/4. May up 1 1/4 at 445 1/2. Nice to see those positives. Kansas City wheat's been on such a slide for the last several days, so good to see some plus signs as we wrapped up today. March corn finished Wednesday down 2 1/2 at 363 3/4. May down 2 1/4 at 373 3/4. Each of the later months also lower. March soybeans down 1/4 cent, 903 1/2. May down 1/4 cent at 916 3/4. We saw some fractional gains in a couple of the other months, but not a lot of movement in soybeans. Still waiting for the most part on trade issues to be resolved. March soybean meal up $1.80 at 305. May up 190 at 309 at 20. Soy oil was down. March bean oil 29 points lower at 29.80. May was down 28 points at 30.12. So all in all, not the best day in the soy complex. Kansas City wheat finished with some small gains. Corn had kind of a tough day. Numbers in the livestock complex were mixed. February live cattle down 17 at 129.40. April unchanged at 129.92. But after that, later months were all green. Not by huge amounts, but everything was positive. March feeder cattle up 42 at 143.87. April up 45 at 147.22. Again, the later months were in the green. Hogs were mixed. April hogs down 12, 55.60, but May hogs up 27 at 65.60. So most of the later months in hogs were also on the upside. So all in all, a mixed day in the livestock complex. Cotton finished up. March cotton 34 points higher at the end at 71.19. May cotton was up 34 points at 72.36. Market information, Mid-America Ag Network.
Still on the fence about what seed varieties to plant this year? Star Seed has many varieties of forage and spring cover mixes that will produce the best results in your fields. Need alfalfa and oats? We have that too. Give us a call today to pre-book your spring seed products. No bag fees, no delivery fees, no kidding. We are Star Seed, and we deliver premium quality seed to our dealers whenever and wherever you need. Call us today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
You can't handle the truth.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
I can feel that cold, windy old man winter blowing through my rotten windows. I can't go through another winter with these windows. Might as well move outside with this much cold air coming through my house.
Old windows can let out 10 to 25% of your heat during the winter. Call Doug at Myers Exterior Products to get your new energy-efficient windows installed today. Myers Exterior Products, the outside experts.
Call 944-1024. Call 944-1024.
News, weather, and sports right here on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Couple minutes to the top of the hour. Welcome back into The Voice of Reason. Hour number 3 right around the corner. When we come back, I always enjoy these guys coming to studio. The Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association, their gun show coming up next week. And again, the most heavily armed studio in America. Armed American Radio can't even beat us on this one. That's what I'm talking about. More comments coming in on social media. No nuclear energy. Some saying yes for the nuclear energy. Kind of interesting all across the board. Maybe one of these days we will make that one our pass it or axe it of the day and get your thoughts on that one. Hey, but I want to remind you, a week from today is the final day for you to register. Go to Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. All over town, 6 locations in Wichita, 1 in El Dorado, 1 in Derby, online at hogwildpitbarbecue.com. But that doesn't really help you for the registration because you need to get in there and you need to drop your name in the basket to get a chance to win the pair of tickets to the Big 12 tournament coming up in Kansas City, March 16th through the 13th, 13th through the 16th, whatever, you know. The basketball tournament in Kansas City, we're going to be giving it away with KQAM, KGSO Radio, and Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. And today, a week from today, is your chance to actually drop your name in that box. Go in there, drop your name in. We'll be announcing it next Friday, and you can get a pair of tickets to win to go up to Kansas City, enjoy the weekend. It's 3, 4, 5-day weekend. Whatever you want to do, spend some time up there, have fun, and watch the entire tournament. Kind of a good deal, right? KU, K-State, OU, all that good jazz. So go up there and enjoy with Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, KQAM, and KGSO. A week from today, anytime between now and next Thursday, get in there, drop your name in the basket. 6 locations in Wichita, 1 in El Dorado, 1 in Derby. Wrapping up hour number 2. Hour 3 right around the corner. We have Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association coming in. Also, Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins at 8:30. Big stuff happening. Hour number 3 of The Voice of Reason on a pre-Friday celebration, baby. Let's make it happen. Stay here.
In honor of President's Day this month, Rusty Eck Ford is rolling out a presidential offer. Put a Lincoln penny down and get a Ford Focus for $189 a month, only at Rusty Eck Ford Proud.
Joe and the guys at Carl's Goodyear, well, they are nice guys. That's the only way to describe them. Need new tires? Got you covered. Flat tire fixed? Done. Tune-up? Oil change? Brakes? Exhaust? Radiator? You get the idea. They do almost everything for your vehicle. They will also give you a ride when your car is in the shop. Nice guys who know auto repair, but above that, they know people and treat them like they would want to be treated. Carl's Goodyear, right on the corner of Market and Waterman, 264-5385.
In honor of President's Day this month, Rusty Eck Ford is rolling out a presidential offer. Put a Washington quarter down and get an F-150 truck for only $475 a month. Only at Rusty Eck Ford Proud.
This is a Steckline Communication Station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for the latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by The Laundry Station, Kansas's premier laundry services provider in the Wichita area. Centrally located on Oliver at Kellogg. The Laundry Station.
Good Thursday. Wichita police say the man who was found with a gunshot wound in his vehicle early Sunday morning has died. Police found 27-year-old Hector Ortega in the 1100 block of South Fern around 5 o'clock Sunday morning. He died Tuesday night from his injuries. No suspects yet arrested in the case. A man is now in custody on suspicion of first-degree murder in connection to the shooting death of a man earlier this month in Wichita. 25-year-old Tanner Mora booked into the Sedgwick County Jail on Tuesday night. Back on the evening of February 6th, the Wichita police called to the parking lot of Genesis Health Club near 13th and West Street, where officers found 22-year-old Lorenzo Wade with a gunshot wound. Wade died at the scene. Police say Wade and Mora were acquaintances and drugs potentially played a part in the shooting. Mora is listed as a parole absconder on the Kansas Department of Corrections website out of Cowley County. Prosecutors say no criminal charges will be filed in the shooting death of a 9-year-old Wichita boy who was playing with a loaded gun he got out of a locked safe. Sedgwick County District Attorney Mark Bennett said yesterday his office will not prosecute either the 11-year-old boy who shot Royale Spencer in the face or the owner of the gun who had stored it in a gun safe with a malfunctioning lock. That shooting happened back on January 21st in the Stonegate Mobile Home Park in Wichita. Federal prosecutor seeking a 25-year prison sentence for the California man who made a hoax call that led police to fatally shoot a Wichita man following a dispute between online gamers. The government argued in a filing yesterday that 26-year-old Tyler Barris has not shown sincere remorse. It called the scope, nature, and deviousness of his criminal activity staggering, saying he risked innocent life each time he engaged in swatting. Barris facing sentencing tomorrow in federal court in Wichita for making the false report resulting in a death. He's pleaded guilty to 51 charges related to fake calls and threats across the country. I'm Rick Everett from the News Desk. Now sports with Doug Downs.
The Wichita State Shockers wrap up the month of February tonight with a home game against the Yukon Huskies. A Shocker win tonight would give head coach Greg Marshall his 300th win at Wichita State. In order for the Shockers to win, they are going to need the confidence of Dexter Dennis and his hot shooting over the last 3 games to continue.
I'd say it's just a confidence thing. I believe just when I shoot it, it's going in every time.
We will have Shocker Sound off at 4 o'clock from Twin Peaks East. Also tonight on 1410 AM 93.9 FM KGSO, it's high school basketball sub-state as Cape and Mount Carmel faces Bishop Carroll. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
A DUI can literally stop a person and their vehicle in its tracks. If you know someone who's gotten a nudge from the judge and their vehicle can't budge without an ignition interlock device, the next right move is Just Right Auto Repair. Just Right Auto Repair at 4312 West Central is Wichita's Intoxilock Ignition Interlock Installation Specialist. Intoxilock is the preferred device of choice among customers and monitoring authorities. Make your vehicle just right in the Quartz site. Just Right Auto Repair, your Intoxilock Ignition Interlock Installation Specialist.
Hi ladies, it's Tiffany talking about my all-time favorite home decorating source, Jabara's Flooring Outlet. You've heard of Jabara's Flooring for years. They have the largest selection of carpet, wood, and all your favorite floor coverings in the state. And right now, they are offering a free Sonic Clean Soft Carpet Vacuum with every qualifying carpet purchase. Who doesn't need a new vacuum? Am I right, ladies? So take it from a real shopper, someone who loves a great deal. See Jabara's for your new floors. Like they say, the smartest shoppers shop Jabara's. 17th and North Broadway, Wichita.
Every truck owner knows real truck protection doesn't drop in, it's sprayed on. And the leader in sprayed-on truck bed liners is Rhino Lining. And now Toppers Plus Truck Accessories is your Rhino dealer. Rhino's sprayed-on truck bed liners outperform all plastic drop-in, rubber mats, and paint-like coatings. Rhino linings never crack, never peel, never warp, and come with a nationwide lifetime warranty. Nothing beats a Rhino. See how good they are. Call Toppers Plus Truck Accessories 942-2864 or find them at toppersplusks.com.
Make your truck work for you!
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
Special report.
No deal with North Korea. Kim Jong-un was willing to partially follow through, or so he claims, with denuclearization, but without a full commitment. President Trump was unwilling to lift sanctions.
It was the question of the day, and one Kim Jong-un did answer sitting across the table from President Trump. Is he willing to denuclearize?
If I'm not willing to do that, I won't be here right now.
In return, however, Kim wanted crippling sanctions lifted before moving forward with what the president hinted afterward was some kind of partial denuclearization.
They were willing to denuke a large portion of the areas that we wanted, but we couldn't give up all of the sanctions for that.
South Korea's presidential office says President Trump has expressed firm commitment to continue negotiations. The president on Air Force One is on his way back to Washington at this hour. I'm John Trout.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Hatman Jacks. Amazing headwear for women and men. At the Clock Tower in Delano, Hatman Jacks.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Mostly sunny and 35, wind chill down to 0. Tonight, increasing clouds and 23. Tomorrow, warmer, mostly sunny and 48. Mostly cloudy and 23 for tomorrow night. Mostly cloudy and 34 again Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:06. It's currently 15 degrees.
Join the KQAM news team every day with Rick and Stephanie only on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM. It's time for Reason.
It has officially come to Kansas, changing your birth certificate to change the gender. Pretty soon it's going to be having that option to have gender neutral or no gender at all in order for you to choose what gender you want to be. When you get older, you get to be 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 years old, and you choose to be what gender you want. That opens up the Pandora's box for the bathroom usage, and yet it's coming here. Why? Because the progressives think, hey, why not?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again.
There it is. That's what I'm talking about. Hour number 3 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV as well. We're rocking it on YouTube Live, youtube.com. Find KQAM Radio. Subscribe to the page. We are almost to 100 subscribers. That's awesome for the fact that we've only been doing YouTube for like a couple of months. So that's really cool. We really appreciate it. Just go on there, go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio, subscribe to the page, watch us live, watch all the podcasts, all that good jazz. It's great to have you along. 316-721-8255. I am so excited. And by the way, speaking of the video feed, if you get a chance and you're not watching it right now, highly encourage you to go to channel 26.10 KGPT, channel 2610 right now, or go to KQAM, go on the KQAM page on YouTube, find it, because we have the most heavily armed studio in America. I'm so excited. I love these guys every time they come in studio as they do their gun show twice a year. They have all the events going on throughout the year with the Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association. Guys, welcome aboard. Let's go through, like usual, let's start off with the U.S. Let's go around and just say your name and how long you've been with the Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association.
Excuse me. I tell people I'm a new guy on the block in the gun club. I've been in the gun club since 1966.
Well, hey, you know, it's just starting off, still learning the ropes around there. Yeah,
plan on being around a hell of a lot longer. Okay.
That's right, exactly. Go ahead. How long you been in the group? What's your name?
I'm Dale Nice. I've been in the gun club just recent. I'm new, an old-time gun guy and archery guy, but just got into the gun club because I like to kind of meet, learn, and speak more people. Talk to more people that enjoy what I enjoy.
I love it. It's kind of the group of people that actually enjoy it. You're not going to see people there being like, guns really trigger me and make me feel uncomfortable. Not going to happen.
Triggered people don't happen.
Triggered people don't need to be showing up and signing up for this one. Yeah, just a warning.
No use
for
triggered people.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm Dave Brown. I've been in the gun club since 2007. Spent 10 wonderful years running the gun show when it was out at the Coliseum. Is a great time. Good show. Great show.
You guys have so much fun with the gun show every year, and both the spring and the winter one. So last year was a heck of a year for you guys. You had a lot of fun. This time it's again coming up next weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday at Hartman Arena, just like it has been. And how's the Hartman Arena been working for you guys? I know you guys did that transition last year, I believe, right?
Yeah. It's 2 years ago.
2 years ago, okay.
Or has it been 3 now? I think we're in our third
It's been
year
a little
of our
bit.
contract. Yeah. It's worked out well for us.
Good.
But, it'd be nice to have it on continuous floor space, but you get what you get. You just have what you have, and you work with what you got. We have a good show, good venue, and we just keep her going. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, and you guys get tons of vendors to come out there with so many firearms. How many vendors did you have last fall? It was a decent amount.
Yeah, I think it had about 150 last show, and I think we got about the same this time too. About 428 tables.
Wow,
it's about what we set up. So it's a shadow of what we used to do at 900, but it's still a good show. We have a lot of good vendors.
I was talking with the current gun show manager, I guess we will call him, or chairman, a couple of days ago, and all the tables are sold.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I'm expecting that it's going to be a real good show, and not only that, we're going to have bad weather, which then the guys can come out to the gun show instead of having to put weed killer on the yard.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
and doing honeydews. So
see,
good excuse.
The weather's bad. I got to go inside and stay warm. I'm going to go to the venue. Yeah,
you got it.
It's the perfect time.
And bring your sons and daughters and let them see what's going on, and maybe learn a little bit about the outdoors and about firearms and firearm safety. And
you
stuff
probably
like
just
that.
triggered a whole bunch of people again by saying children might be around firearms.
Well,
yeah.
good.
That's it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Good. Exactly. See, and that's what I love about you guys, because you have so many. I mean, how many guns do you think are at the show? I mean, with how many vendors and how many tables? I mean, with guns scattered everywhere there, it is so fun just to look at.
If you just looked at how many tables we've got at 10 guns per table, which is going to be a lot bigger than that as far as numbers per table. You're talking 1,000, 2,000 different types of firearms.
Mm-hmm. That's just different
ones,
types, yeah.
And this
there'll
is
be everything from
probably.
I haven't recently seen an original matchlock, but it's not. It wouldn't be unusual if one showed up just for display.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the way up to the most modern firearm and sporting arms of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And not just guns. I mean, you brought in as well not just a firearm but a crossbow as well, which we talked a little bit off the air. I love crossbows. My dad got into bow hunting. I got into the crossbow shooting, and they are just a blast to fire and to shoot. Just as much fun as a gun, really. I mean, just the thrill and the excitement of being able to shoot the bow is really fun, isn't it?
It is. And there's some new crossbows out, and Raven and 10 Point has 2 crossbows out.
Okay.
And you're shooting a 4-inch group at 100 yards. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of guys that's got guns out there that can't shoot a 4-inch group at 100 yards. It's really amazing, the technology that they've come up with. I got into crossbows because I was an archery guy, and I took my shoulders out shooting archery, and I had to go to a crossbow to do it. And since then, I went into a cheap crossbow, and it was all right. But it's just like the guns or anything else. You start getting into it, it really gets amazing what you can do. I'll split arrows at 50 yards.
That's fantastic. And there's something primitive about it, too. Just like with the antique guns that I want to get to here in a second as well, with is what you guys shoot with a lot of your competitions and stuff that you do, being the Antique Gun Association, and with the gun shows, the antiques, but then with the bows, too. There's just something primitive and exhilarating about doing it the way that they did it in the past, as opposed to, I mean, nothing against the new firearms, because they're a lot of fun.
Well, but it's the connection.
It is. It's that connection. It really is.
It's a lot like an antique automobile.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Everybody drives a new automobile today, but a lot of people have a very classic or very, very nice antique automobile in their garage that they play with.
Sure.
And the same thing with antique firearms. Some of us even hunt with them. Some of us build reproductions or new, I call new old manufacture.
Sure.
Because it's not a reproduction when a guy builds one, because it's probably his first one that he's ever built,
Sure.
And, but yet it's of the old style and old technology, you know.
Talk about this guy here, and if you're watching the video feed, you can see it. This is actually really light for an older firearm. I mean, we've carried some of the older ones, and I mean the muzzleloaders, they are hefty. The barrel is extremely heavy. This is a really light gun. Talk about this one a little bit.
Well, look down the muzzle.
It's got a big hole in it.
There you go.
It's actually about I'll say 12 gauge. Okay.
Okay.
It's a percussion trade gun.
Okay.
All right. It could very well be European manufactured that was carried to America in the 1840s by either immigrants or something of that nature.
Okay.
I managed to come by it at one of our gun shows, so it spent some time locally in the state of Kansas or on the plains.
Sure.
It's seen a lot of use. It's really not what I call museum quality, but it talks to you.
It does.
Because it's been used. It's done that. It's not too far-fetched to think about the fact that it's probably taken a lot of game on the plane.
I was going to say, so this is an original. This isn't a replica.
That's an original, and it probably earliest it would be 1830, as late as probably 1860.
Okay.
Sometime in that time frame when it was manufactured.
That's what I wanted to ask. So is this from then, as you mentioned, more of the hunting lifestyle thing as opposed to maybe a military grade one that they used at the time?
Oh, yeah. It was mountain man style.
Mountain man style. The fur traders.
That's it.
Yeah.
The fur trade era, very much so.
And it's easy to haul around because it's so much lighter, easy to haul around and do the backpacking up the mountain and do what you need to do.
A gun similar to that was, they got, most of them were flintlock, were traded to the Indians, and that's how the term trade gun came about.
Okay.
And they were traded to Indians for various things during the mountain man time.
Gotcha. Now, this guy, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a break real quick. 16 minutes past the hour. There's so many guns I want to get to and talk about. Plus, with the guns, you can see, by the way, all these guns and a heck of a lot more at the gun show, the Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association. The gun show coming up next weekend, Hartman Arena. The price of the tickets for people to get in, how can they do that?
$10. Get a hand stamp. Get in both days. Kids 12 and under in free. But be with your kids, please.
Yeah, be with your kids. Be with your kids, and the hours on both days.
9 to 5 on Saturday, 9 to 4 on Sunday.
Very good, very good. We'll continue to remind. Let's take a break. We'll look at some more of these guns when we come back. Plus, take a look at that crossbow that you brought in here, too. Because you said, I mean, some of these crossbows, they can get up to the price range of many of these firearms, right?
Yeah, this particular bow here, you get into the better quality, either $1,500 to $2,500.
Wow, that's crazy.
But they are you get what you pay for, just like in guns.
Oh yeah. The quality's there. Good. We'll talk about all that and more. Plus fun. Get on the video feed, watch it. If not, we'll describe it the best we can with the theater of the mind of radio, and we'll try and describe it. Let me just tell you, they're badass guns. There you go. There's your description right there. Got to take a break. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Your phone rings. There's a 50-50 chance it's going to be a dreaded robocaller. Today, the surprising answer to why these annoying calls just don't stop. Kim Commando with your Thursday Consumer Tech Update. Get extended interviews and the latest tech news with the free Commando podcast. Available on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you do get your podcasts. University of Maryland researchers say that robocalls are growing thanks to tech and money. Advanced automatic dialing systems make it easy and cheap to call a lot of people. The programs encode caller ID to make it look like whatever they want, a local number, government agency, you name it, even though they're probably somewhere overseas. This way, people are more likely to fall for the pitch. Now, let's follow the money. It costs a fraction of a cent for each of these calls, but scammers can easily net millions. You can limit robocalls with call blockers, even apps that have pre-recorded responses to frustrate any would-be scammer on the other line. Hit Commando.com for all the details and links you need. I'm Kim Commando. As a business owner, I rely on Dell Small Business Technology Advisors. I'm Kim Commando. Now, you and I both know There's nothing small about our businesses. Our reputation is always on the line, and that's where the Dell Small Business Technology Advisors come in. Reliable Dell PCs with Intel Core processors are rock solid. That means you can focus on getting business done. Call 877-BUY-DELL. That's 1-877-BUY-DELL.
I don't know. Let's see. Pasta? No, we just had pasta. Meatloaf? I don't have time to cook that.
Okay, so that's how choosing tonight's dinner used to sound. But HelloFresh is taking the guesswork out of dinner time. They deliver fresh ingredients straight to your doorstep with America's #1 meal kit. Get $60 off. That's $20 off your first 3 boxes when you visit HelloFresh.com/Kim. That's HelloFresh.com/Kim. Get cooking.
Coming spring 2019. Hail.
Ouch. Oh. Wind. Freezing temperatures. Tornadoes. That's mayhem.
Hi, I'm Mark Collier, your local Allstate agent. We're your insurance agency interested in doing what's best for you. Before mayhem strikes, call us at our Goddard office, 316-413-4014, and find us on Facebook at Collier Allstate. Are you in good hands?
Riverside Cafe is more than just great comfort foods. Riverside Cafe has amazing fresh salads, daily hand-breaded fresh catfish, and chicken strips. Burgers.
Burger.
The best in the business, and even veggie burgers for the healthy eaters. Riverside Cafe, breakfast all day, every day, daily specials, homemade hand-cut fries, fried chicken Fridays, and kids eat free Monday through Friday when each child accompanies a paying adult. Riverside Cafe, open till 8 Monday through Saturday, open till 2 Sunday afternoons, 2 Wichita locations, and 824 North Baltimore in Derby.
The Miller Minute with Dennis Miller.
I want to talk about Michael Cohen and his testimony. Can I tell you, I assume many of the things that Cohen says about then private citizen Trump are in fact true. Do I believe those things about most presidents? Yeah, I do. Do I believe there's hush money? Well, most of the time, except it seems the Clintons weren't into hush money. When Bill had a dalliance, they would just try to personally destroy the person. All I can say about Michael Cohen is this. It looks like telling the truth, as he says he's doing now, is taking a lot more out of him than lying ever did. Starting to get those circles around his eyes. He looks like the dog in the Target commercials. And what do I care if Trump's original plan was to make his brand great, and in the process he's doing well for the country? That's all silly stuff. Something's rotten in Denmark. I think it's Michael Cohen. And that's the minute. I'm Dennis Miller.
If you haven't tried the delicious, high-quality meat from ButcherBox, you're going to be blown away. ButcherBox brings you unbelievable flavor and unparalleled nutrition. They work closely with farms and companies committed to raising animals humanely. This ensures an ethical process, one that results in better quality, better taste, more nutrient-dense meat with no added hormones or antibiotics ever. From grass-fed beef to free-range organic chicken to wild-caught sockeye salmon from Bristol Bay, Alaska. ButcherBox has over 20 different cuts of meats, and ButcherBox comes at an affordable price with free shipping. You can get a month's worth of the best-tasting meat from ButcherBox for less than $6 a meal. ButcherBox is offering my listeners free ground beef for the life of your subscription and $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Dennis. butcherbox.com/Dennis. That's butcherbox.com/Dennis.
Wichita's morning newsman. Your latest news with Rick is on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. 23 minutes past the hour. We got about 6-7 minutes before the bottom of the hour. Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins will be joining us after that. A few minutes left here with the Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association. These guys getting ready for their gun show coming up next weekend. It's at Hartman Arena. $10 tickets. Children get in free. And check it out, 9 to 5 on Saturday, 9 to 4 on Sunday. Thousands of firearms. So, trigger warning again. Pun intended. That's funny. So let's get into some of these again. And you guys have First off, let's talk about the organization for a minute. How many members do you have in the club as of right now?
Well, we got somewhere between 180 and 190.
180, 190 members.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, it's good. It's a good club.
And you guys do, other than just the gun show, which I know it's a big thing you guys do twice a year, every year anyways, but outside of that, you also do the shootouts, you do all the extravaganzas.
We have firearms matches 4 weekends a month, almost every month at our gun club range.
Really? Okay.
The first weekend on Saturday, like coming up, will be our muzzleloading match.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a primitive area for that. We also have 22 matches. We have cowboy action matches, and we have a cowboy town that is separate from the primitive area, separate from the 22 and high power long range area.
Okay.
We have an 80-acre range that's totally supported by the gun club, and the gun club members do all the maintenance and everything on it.
Sure.
And it's really a good thing to be involved with, because it gives you an outlet. It gives you a place to go shoot. Take your kids and go shoot. My boys and daughter grew up in the gun club. My 2 boys belong to it.
Sure.
My daughter shoots in the fall muzzleloading match, and I built guns for them. And we go out there camping because we have a camping area also.
Okay. Oh, it's camping area, shooting area. Now,
yeah.
it's do you have kids competitions for shootouts as well?
Yeah. We have competition, and like at our fall rendezvous, it'll be 2 days long. A lot of people will be dressed in primitive clothing, and there's a primitive camping area, and then Saturday night we have bona fide from scratch 44-gallon buffalo stew that we fix. The gals that whose husbands belong to the club do that, and the guys even get involved keeping the fire going and keeping it stirred. And
well, I also have the annual matches, like the Tom Horn match, the Women on Target,
okay,
the D-Day match.
Yeah.
So there's special matches that happen annually. So
How fun!
It's a lot of
always something going on to keep involved, keep educating, keep people interested in the art and in the sport, because that's what it is.
And the history and the connection.
Exactly.
I'm glad you brought that up, because my interest, as you've already figured out, is strictly muzzleloading.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I do some cowboy action shooting, but I'm not into the more modern stuff like the D-Day match and things like that.
Okay.
Because I've only got a certain amount of money, so I will put that in a good muzzleloader versus a good World War II gun.
Sure.
But we have a well-rounded program for everybody.
And that's part of our outreach too, like Women on Target.
Sure.
That's one. Our gun show has always been an outreach.
Right.
So it's we just try to keep things.
And I love it because it's not just, I mean, there is a lot of shooting involved in it, but you mentioned it's the history and it's the education and it's the story. I mean, every one of these firearms that you bring in here, and we only got about 2 minutes already, so we're not going to get to all of them today. You guys are going to come in again next week, but there's a story to every one of these about, what they were used for, and you can create the scenario thinking about what happened with this gun and who was using it at the time and what it was used for, and I mean, there's a story to tell behind every one of these. It's really, really cool.
It's the core of the connection.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what's under attack right now. It's
exactly.
The connection to who we are.
I mean, that's
what really is the core of it.
Exactly. It's sad. We got about a minute and a half left, but the gun show again coming up next weekend at Hartman Arena, 9 to 5 on Saturday, 9 to 4 on Sunday, $10 tickets. And remind everybody again, to all the debate on the political side, you guys actually do background checks when you purchase a firearm at a gun show. I know, right? There's no loophole.
There is no loophole. It's like buying a gun at Dick's or any place else. You've got to go through the background. So,
yeah.
In fact, we have a brochure, rules for buying, selling, and trading at gun show on our website, ctaga.net. It's published and distributed by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's their handwriting. It's the rules they have,
yes.
And we follow those, and you will too.
Shocker. Craziness, right? You actually go through the process to purchase a fire. Even going back to like the old school muzzleloaders like this, correct? You have to go through that process. Yeah. You don't.
Those are known.
Oh, those are not. Okay. Very cool.
These are under the old 1898 regulation, so they are not. They're actually not to be shot anyway.
Well, sure.
And a lot of them are not in condition to be
not
shot.
Condition to be fired. Sure.
But there was an exemption made back a long time ago on those guns, but
I like it. We're out of time here, guys. I always appreciate it so much. We'll look forward to seeing you guys in studio again next week.
Thank you for your time.
We'll be here.
Hey, lots more coming up. A lot of fun. Phil Martinez, Phil's Quinn's coming up right here on The Voice of Reason. Stay tuned.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM. Special report, no deal with North Korea. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says nuclear negotiations with North Korea will resume again quickly. President Trump gave no timeline. Our Bob Costantini has more from Vietnam.
The president's post-summit news conference coming 2 hours earlier than expected.
I think our relationship is very strong, but at this time we had some options, and at this time we decided not to do any of the options, and we'll see where that goes. It was a very interesting 2 days, and I think actually it was a very productive 2 days, but sometimes you have to walk.
So a planned agreement signing ceremony was scrapped.
We actually had papers ready to be signed.
One bit of progress coming out of here. Kim and the president talked about opening a liaison office for the U.S. in Pyongyang. And as ever, they feel their personal relationship is strong.
With diplomacy at odds, however, President Trump is on Air Force One, making his way back to the White House, no deal in hand. I'm John Trout.
Endless scratching. The itch from my eczema is unbearable. Are you struggling to get relief from chronic itching due to your atopic dermatitis, also known as eczema? If so, you may qualify for a clinical study testing an investigational medication for the severe itch associated with atopic dermatitis. Qualified participants will receive study-related care and medication at no charge. Call 1-844-777-4824 or 1-844-777-ITCH or visit advandastudy.com for more information on how to participate. Sponsored by Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
Texting enrolls for recurring automated marketing text messages. Message and data rates may apply. Texting privacy rules and terms and conditions at textrules.us. Are you sick of frozen meals or unhealthy fast food? Martha Stewart is doing a free taste test, giving away 3 full-sized meals from her meal kit delivery service, Martha and Marley Spoon. To be part of Martha's at-home taste test and get 3 free meals, text the word CRAVE to 246-810. It's so easy. Text us now. Martha's meals are easy, simple, and delicious. To be part of Martha's at-home taste test and get your 3 free meals, text CRAVE to 246-810. That's CRAVE to 246-810. CRAVE to 246-810.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Thursday. A teenager involved in the exchange of a stolen handgun on Lawrence High School grounds has been sentenced to 6 months of probation. The Lawrence Journal-World reports the teenager was sentenced yesterday in a closed hearing for criminal use of a weapon. Court documents say another teen stole the gun from his father September 9th and provided it to the other teenager the next day. The gun was recovered off campus. Police in Hayes are searching for a suspect in the fatal shooting of another man. Police say officers responding to a domestic disturbance call in Hayes last night found a 26-year-old man dead from a gunshot wound. Authorities say they're searching for Ryan Paul Thompson in connection with the shooting. Thompson fled the scene of the shooting before officers were able to arrive. Hayes police say Thompson should be considered armed and dangerous. Kansas Mid-America Network News.
At Starseed, we pride ourselves on being hardworking and dependable. That's why we are dedicated to sudden service. Simply put, we hand deliver your seed directly to our dealers whenever and wherever you need it. We offer a lineup of high-performance forages that deliver outstanding tonnage with superior digestibility. We are Starseed, and you can count on us to deliver the highest quality seed products. Call us today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
Crop producers, you know you can produce a higher crop yield while reducing the impact on valuable natural resources, including water supplies and soil, with the proper nutrition and management. Tyree Ag partners with AgroLiquid Fertilizers and Pioneer Seed with the goal of prospering the farmer while safeguarding the environment. Tyree Ag offers quality aerial and ground applications, precision ag services, and a broad selection of crop protection and biostimulant products serving South Central Kansas and Northwest Oklahoma. Visit Tyree Ag today at tyreeag.com.
If you can shoot the rock, then now is the time to sign up for the 3rd annual St. Catherine of Siena 3-on-3 basketball tournament. It's great fun and all proceeds benefit the Parish Men's Club. The tournament will have 16 co-ed teams and all participants must be 18 years old and up. Women's points are an advantage, so get your team together now and get signed up at stcatherinewichita.com/3-on-3. The tournament is Saturday, March 23rd. Concessions will be available. It is free for spectators and the entry fee to play is $50 per team.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Mostly sunny and 35, wind chill down to 0. Tonight, increasing clouds and 23. Tomorrow, warmer, mostly sunny and 48, mostly cloudy and 23 for tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and 34 again Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:35. It's currently 15 degrees.
Call the Voice of Reason now on the ABC Recycling phone lines at 721-8255. This is the Big Talker, KQAM.
I've been a huge advocate trying to bring libertarians back into the Republican ranks so we can work together and fix what needs to be fixed, because we have bigger numbers, we have the 80% of that we agree on and work together on, and that we can make a really big change that way instead of dividing ourselves and we continue to lose.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Welcome into the Voice of Reason. 36 minutes past the hour, wrapping up the program today on a Thursday, pre-Friday celebration, baby. Making it happen. And in studio, it is the last Thursday of the month, which means the man himself in studio. And we pushed him back from his usual time from 8 o'clock for the Chisholm Trail Antique Gun Association. Again, they have their gun show coming up next week. But Phil Martinez, the man, 9344 West Central Avenue from Phil's Coins. What's going on, Phil? How you doing, sir?
Not much. Just busy.
It's good to see you. Yeah, another month down. I cannot believe February's over already, which I'm ready for, like, springtime, because this is way too cold for me. I'm not okay with this.
You know, spring's supposed to be here in, 6 days or something like that?
Yeah, but, like, it should have been happening, like, a week ago kind of thing. I'm ready for this. The warm weather. Actually, I think this is one of the coldest winters we've had in a while, isn't it?
Maybe in a while, but at the same time, I listened to him the other day, and February didn't even make the top 30.
Really?
Coldest.
In Kansas?
Yeah, this was not even in the top 30 coldest Februarys.
Well, it should be warmer, though. Last year, I remember it was cold for January and beginning of February, but then by the end of February, it was starting to warm up. St. Patty's Day, which is, by the way, the greatest day of the whole year, it was nice and warm by then. Yeah. So, anyways, how's Phil's Coins doing? You guys are always busy.
Always busy.
And another month down, you guys always hopping. Gold, silver coming in, going out. What's been the story over the last month?
Actually, we're selling it fast. About 4 months ago, we were buying it so fast we couldn't sell it fast enough to keep up.
Sure.
And now we're having to order it in almost every week.
Really?
Yeah. So it's just but the people aren't selling like they were, and everybody's wanting to buy.
Okay.
So we're having to order it in.
What is the price right now of gold and silver? What's it looking like?
I was going to check that. I didn't. I think gold was setting at roughly $13.20. And silver was bid was $15.70 and ask was $15.80.
Okay.
And it did bump above 16. So I think you're going to see it. It does this usually April or March and April, May are all good months for silver normally. So I think what you're going to do is see silver pull back into I think it'll bump up to like 6 1/4, then drop down to like 5.80, not 5.90. Then it'll bump up again. It'll fall back and it'll bump up. But I think every time it bumps up, you'll see it increase. Nickel, dime, 20 cents. Yeah,
sure. Is the bubble beginning to burst? You've been predicting for a while. The prices are going to be rising quite dramatically, I think, on silver, especially possibly gold as well. Is it going to be that slow trickle up, or will it do that up and down a little bit and then the bubble bursts and then it skyrocket?
Well, the other day the British pound gained strength on the dollar, which made the dollar weaker, which should have pushed silver and gold up, and they went down. So, there's just no rhyme or reason to it. A lot of this will all depend on what happens with some of the, I guess, maybe wrong about it's either Chase Stanley Morgan or Stanley Morgan, one of those two.
Sure.
one of the big shots went to jail the other day for all the things they've done with the silver markets, and somebody above him is going to court now, and so there could be a whole bunch of fines and a whole lot of people in trouble. So that may figure out what's going to happen. But at the same time, I know we're using silver faster than we're mining it.
Sure.
So at that reason, it ought to go up.
It ought to go up at some point. I think it will. Now, when people come in and they're looking at silver, and you see everything from like the regular silver rounds that I like to get, just the regular silver round, to just the 1 ounce silver, or to a collectible item, or to something cheap, or even the what's the other stuff? The
junk silver.
The junk silver. Thank you. Yeah. And between all of that, if you have the ability and the collection, do you see more collectors coming in looking for particular coins, years, makes, and models, or are they coming in for more of the, this is my emergency retirement, whatever, that I'm setting aside for a bad rainy day?
I would probably say that we see more bullion buyers that are buying. There's more people coming around in my way of thinking. Okay. That right. They need to have something put back. Some of them are looking to set up IRAs or something, and trying to figure out where to go. And there's a company we use, and it's Gold Star, and we can make arrangements to have it delivered to their accounts and everything, so we can hook that all up for them. There's a guy that actually you can set up your own private IRA, and you incorporate yourself, and then you can actually hold your own. You can store and hold your own silver and gold. You do not have to have it at a depository, so you actually have control of it.
Okay.
I think it was about $500 to set the account up.
Sure.
And but now somebody come in the other day and was asking those questions, and I'm sitting there going, okay, and he goes, well, now they're telling me that I got to put it in a secure location, and I'm sitting there going, okay, and he says, and I said, what did they tell you about secure location? Well, you need to put it in the bank, in a safe deposit box. And I said, well, then you need to go talk to the branch manager, because my understanding is you cannot store bullion in a safety deposit box, because the government's not going to let you use a government facility to store something they don't know you have. And he goes, so what am I supposed to do? And I said, well, talk to the branch manager, because I said I could be wrong.
Sure.
God forbid me be wrong. But it is possible I'm wrong. I may misunderstand something. So I said, now, if they tell you can put your bullion in there, I said I'd actually have her type something up that on certain date that the bank says I'm legal to do this. And if the bank tells you no,
sure,
then at that point you need to call the guy that's telling you that you got to put it in the bank and say, well, now, according to the bank, it's illegal for me to have bullion stored. So I need something from you that says you'll be responsible, because technically if the bank closes, and this is what I tell a lot of my people, and I could be so far off on this it would be scary, but I'm under the impression that if a bank closes, they're going to say, okay, Mr. Johnson, you can come in on Wednesday between 1 and 4 and pick up your safety deposit box. I am sorry, but I truly believe that somebody from Homeland Security or the IRS is going to be standing there checking everybody's box, and anything you take out that's illegal, like cash or bullion or whatever, I think the government will confiscate and tell you it's illegal for you to have it, therefore they have the right to confiscate it, and it's going to be such a trivial amount of money you can't afford to hire a lawyer and fight them.
Right.
Now, one guy says there's just absolutely no way they're going to take my stuff. And I said, well, if two of them sitting there with guns and you don't have one, I think they pretty well do what they want to do. And he goes, hadn't thought about that just that way. So, I'm very leery of the...
well, remember, it's not our wealth, it's the government's. Come on.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's the government.
What Mr. Obama forgot to figure was, if it wasn't for my tax dollars, the federal government would have never built a road to help my business anyway, after he made the statement that technically it's all the government's doing.
That's right. Yeah, it's not your success, it's the government and the community success for businesses and for ventures and for inventions.
When I didn't have any money and I was working 100 hours a week, working a full-time job, and then running my shop during the day and sleeping 2 hours a day to get my shop up, I didn't see Obama or the federal government doing a damn thing to help me. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they want you to follow the law, and they want you to understand the law. The only problem is they don't understand the law themselves.
Sure. Well, they make it up as they go.
Well, yeah. I'm in a situation that I talked to the head federal prosecutor for the federal government that does like Kansas, Oklahoma, and this whole central area, the federal prosecutor. And we were talking about putting money cash in a safety deposit box. And at that time, you could put $10,000 in the bank, up to $10,000.
Sure.
Anything over 10. And I said, so you're telling me that Mr. Average Joe puts $50 a week in a safety deposit box so he can have a little emergency cash, and when he hits $10,050, he's in violation of the Patriot Act. Yep. And I said, and where does the government stand on it? Confiscate it all. That's a violation. We'll prosecute. We'll take it all. And I said, well, then there's got to be some way legally to do this.
Sure.
And he goes, sure. He says, you just go to the bank and you tell them who you are, and you tell them you've got $10,050 in your safety deposit box. They'll fill out a CT form for the government.
Right.
Then the government knows you have it in the box, therefore it's legal.
Right.
Now, being somebody that kind of doubts what anybody that works for the government tells me, I went to the bank. I walked in and said, you know who I am? And she said, yes, Mr. Martinez, I'm very aware of who you are. And I said, okay, and I've got $11,000 in my safety deposit box.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to fill out a CT form to send to the government so the government will know I have it so that I'll be legal.
Right.
And she looks at me and she says, I can't do that. And I said, why not? And she
You're not
says,
supposed to know about it.
because we're not supposed to know what's in your box. So there's the federal prosecuting attorney for the United States government, and even he doesn't understand the law well enough to tell you how it works.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, me being a banker before I got back into radio, I had seen that. And not just safety deposit boxes, but also transactions. If you withdraw, if you put in, or if you transfer any cash over, and every bank has their own stipulation around that $10,000 range, then they have to fill out one of those forms to send to the government, but they have to do it without your knowledge. So you don't know what that limit is at a bank if you withdraw or if you put in, or if it's involved in cash. If it's check or something, it's totally different.
Right.
But if it's cash, to put in, to take out, or to transfer to some degree, whatever stipulation or whatever around that range is that the bank sets, then if that transaction happens, they have to fill out the form, and you cannot know about it, and then send it to the government.
And now that number's 3.
Yeah, well,
3,000.
Okay. Oh, it's 3. It's down from 10 to 3.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I mean, if you walk in and you make a cash deposit of $3,000, they're going to fill out a form. Now, I don't think the federal government's going to look at it. They just put your name in a book.
Sure.
And then somebody at the bank looks at it. Now, if you're somebody like me that makes deposits, you know, 2, 3, 5, 10,000 in cash all the time, in and out.
Right.
They're going to go, that's filling it. It's no
That's
big
just a
deal.
normal thing.
But if somebody that normally doesn't do this does that, then they make a note of it, and then they start watching you. And somebody goes, well, I know it's not $3,000, and I said, well, I'll be honest with you, I put $3,500 in change in the bank the other day.
Mm-hmm.
The lady didn't know who I was, and she sits there and asks for my driver's license and everything else, and fills all this paperwork out on me. Because it was over $3,000 and it was in quarters.
Sure.
So,
yeah. So
I mean, I somehow I
wasn't
trying to fish for the answer, but I got what I know to be.
They're running the dirty laundromat, apparently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. Let's take a break. 47 minutes past the hour. Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins, 112 South Main Street. And I'm sorry, no, 112. I don't know where I got that number. 9344 West Central Avenue. Yeah, 9344 West Central Avenue. Phil's Coins. Phil'sCoins.com is the website as well. Do you guys have a Facebook page too?
I probably do, but I don't know what it is because I'm computer illiterate.
That's all right. You can check it out, Phil's Coins. But they have everything: buying, selling, trading. Whether it's setting your stuff aside for the emergency fund or whether it's being the collectible. Do you have collectors coming in looking for stuff as well?
Oh, yeah. Right now, if you'd have told me this would happen, I'd tell you you're crazy. But right now, we're selling it faster than we're buying it. Wow. I mean, my inventory just...
Collector's items.
My collector items inventory is it's not quite half. It's about 2/3 of where I was at one time. And I went to this last show, and I actually had to go out and buy almost $13,000 worth of stuff just to bring in stuff, just to get some better stuff in the shop because there's just not enough good stuff coming in.
Sure.
It's crazy.
Fun. Crazy stuff. Yeah, we'll talk about some of that when we come back. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you as well. 316-721-8255. 48 minutes past the hour right here on The Voice of Reason on KQAM.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Mixed in the livestock, mixed in the grains and soybeans. That's the way we're going to start our Thursday. Let's check the ag futures markets. Brett Krotz at Schwederman Incorporated. He is here with all the information. Good morning, Brett.
Good morning. Well, kind of a quiet start in the cattle. We've got the February live cattle, which go off the board today, up 17 at 129.57. April down 15 at 129.77. In the feeder cattle, March down 47 at 143.40. May down 37 at 147.90. And in the hog market, the April contract up 20 at 55.80. June up 32 at 76.15. Over in the grain markets, March Kansas City wheat up a penny and 3/4 at 440.5. May up a quarter or down a quarter cent at 445.25. July down a penny at 454.25. In Chicago, the March wheat down 4 cents at 457. July down 2.5 at 470.75. March corn down a penny and a quarter at 362.5. July down 3/4 at 381.5. March soybeans down 3/4 of a cent at 902 3/4. July down a penny at 929.5, and then July oats up half a cent at 266.5. The June crude oil currently a nickel higher. That's at 57.92. April crude oil up 4.5 cents at 284.5. April gold down 20 cents. That's at 13.21 even. July silver down a penny at 15.85. We've got the March dollar index down 7 points at 95.96, and the March Dow Jones futures currently 30 points lower at 25,979. And for information on these and the other markets, please call us at Schwieterman Incorporated, 1-800-272-9131.
Hello, cattlemen. This is Brady Larson with Larson Angus Ranch. I'd like to invite you to our 15th annual Carcass Without Compromise bull sale on our new sale date of Thursday, March the 7th. We're selling a great set of bulls this year, sired by the leading AI sires Payweight, Stud, Rampage, Surefire, Confidence Plus, and more. Call for a catalog at 785-891-3748 or go to LarsonAngusRanch.com to get an online view of the catalog. I look forward to seeing you at the ranch 14 miles south of Wallace, Kansas on March the 7th.
Attention, co-op members. In conjunction with Countryside Motors in Wellington, all co-op members and their families qualify for additional rebates on Chevrolet, Buick, Hustler turf equipment, and Polaris vehicles. This exclusive fleet rebate program is only being offered by Countryside Motors in Wellington, Kansas. Offers are not being published to the general public. They are available to co-op members in Kansas or Oklahoma. For full details, contact Countryside Motors in Wellington at 620-326-7433 or online at countrysidemotors.net.
Walking, we take it for granted until pain curbs your active lifestyle. Unique Feet's board-certified podorthist, John Galbraith, can help you get back in step.
When you go into a podorthic facility, we're kind of like a pharmacy for prescription shoes and inserts and that sort of thing. With diabetes or neuropathy, these people have exquisite pain. Oftentimes, the insert and shoe modification helps ease the pain dramatically.
Unique Feet.
Online at uniquefeetpodorthics.com or at 750 South Hillside in Wichita.
You're listening to The Big Talker, KQAM 1480 AM and 102.5 FM Wichita.
Gold, silver, trading, buying, selling, all that good jazz. Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central Avenue. The man himself, Phil Martinez. We always love hanging out with him the last Thursday of every month. And Phil, I got to ask you because, I mean, you're so into the coins, not just the value of them, but then the use of them and everything. Your favorite coin that you have at the shop right now, do you have a favorite coin, a year, a make, a special antique thing? Is there anything special that you have?
Well, everything I've got's pretty, to a certain degree, I'd say pretty common.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
I've got some $2,000 and $3,000 coins, but I mean, not anything that.
You can get some really crazy ones. I remember working at the bank.
I guess let's take it back. I had a guy he brought me in a list the other day, or not the other day, but maybe 6 months ago, and he says, I'm looking for these coins and these grades, and he said, but now I'm going to have to hold you to $10,000 limit per coin.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, $10,000 limit. I'm lucky they got $10,000 to spend on a whole bunch of coins, let alone one.
On one, yeah.
And, but I did order in did I get for him? 92 or 93 CC dollar in MS64. He wanted it in 5, but at 5 it jumps up to like $25,000, which is out of his price range. But I ordered him a coin, and it was about $8,700 for one.
Wow. Yeah, they get up there. I always remember. I'll never forget this guy. He was a big conservative. He was a big fun guy, really great guy to talk to when I was at the bank. And he came in and he was withdrawing cash, and I had to fill out one of those forms. Because he was withdrawing money because he was going and buying, and he found a coin that he had been looking for forever, and it was a $13,000 coin.
Oh yeah,
that he was so excited that he found that would finish off one of his collections. And then he's like, "Yeah, and I got a couple more. I'm going to get down the road of this and this and this." And I'm just like, that much money on one single coin, that is crazy. But the real collectors, they really enjoy that.
Oh yeah, my preacher come in one day and he sells me right at $10,000, $9,000, right at 10, not quite 10. And I said, "You need to be keeping this." And he goes, "Well, I found a lazy deuce, and it's a deuce that's turned sideways. Instead of up and down, it's turned sideways, and they call them a lazy deuce." And that turned out to be a really cool knot. I'd never even seen one before.
Okay.
And he said he found one, and they wanted such and such for it, and he was trying to buy it and wasn't having much luck. And so we called the company directly and bought. I said, I got a customer for the piece, la, 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 la. I want to know what we'd pay for it. My wife offered him more money than I would have, but we offered him $11,000.
Wow.
And we shipped them the money, and they sent us the piece, and the preacher come in, and my preacher actually, and I give it to him.
Cool.
And I said, "There you go." And he goes, "What do he owe you?" And he paid me the difference between the silver that he'd sold me plus a little bit of money that he owed me. And because he was my preacher, I sold it to him at what I had in it. I didn't make anything on it. But we saved him $1,000.
That's great.
So
that's good stuff. But again, those are the rare collectors that you can get into as you go along. But I mean, for anybody setting that money aside for the emergency fund, for the anything that happens, just to set it aside because you're going to spend it in ridiculous places elsewhere. I mean, again, you can go in, and I haven't done it in a while. You got the bug under me. I'm itching to go do it again because I can walk in and buy just one silver ounce round.
There you go.
And that's, I mean, how much would that go for right now if I walked in to get a silver round?
About $18.20, $18.30.
$18. Yeah, $18. Walk in, I get that, just one a month, one a paycheck, whatever it is, and you can start setting something aside. And you feel really cool because you can look at them. And by the way, I still have that antique, that ancient coin that we got at your last coin show. That was really cool. That I want to say was like 200 BC.
Could be, yeah.
It was really neat.
Yeah, I got a guy come in the other day, and I was going to say where he works, but I won't. But he comes in and we're talking, and he goes, "Well, somebody said I could save money this way," and I said, "Okay." And he goes, "I've never saved for over $450 in my life." He said, "Every time I get to $450, I find some stupid reason to spend it, and I do."
Sure.
And he was in probably 6 months ago, and he rattled off some numbers of gold and some silver that he bought. And just off the top of my head, I said, "Well, that's $25,000 worth." And he says, "I put back $25,000 for my retirement program, and it was like 3 or 4 years." And he said, "I've never saved over $450 in my life."
That's fantastic.
He said, "If you'd have told me that I'd ever saved this kind of money, but once you buy it, you take it home, you put it up, or you put it in the bank, whatever he's doing with it." He says, "You just forget you got it."
Yeah.
And he says, anytime I had a guy, your buddy over here, Radio Rick, one day sitting there, and he goes, "Yeah, I need to go down to the shop and buy me a widget." He always calls them widgets. "I need a widget." And he goes, "God, I want to go out and eat." Well, if I go out and eat, it's going to cost me $20. I can buy a widget. So he said he went home, made peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and went out to the shop and bought a widget. So he put something back for retirement.
That's what you got to do.
And we talked here a while back, and even he was amazed with how much money he'd put back just at a piece here and a piece there and $100 here and $100 there, how much money he'd put back. And he goes, "I've never been able to save any money." And he says, "This is the most I've ever saved." And he says, "And I would have never done it if it wasn't for silver."
And it's something that just looks really cool to think like, oh my gosh, I actually have silver just sitting there, and the government can't come take it from you. Or can they? Can they?
It depends. I mean, technically, you've got the right of eminent domain. So technically, if the government produced it, the government's got the right to it. Like I tell people, some of them go, "Well, I want to buy Canadian maple leaves." And I said, "Yeah, you're buying Canadian maple leaves because technically the government doesn't have the right to confiscate something they never produced."
Now, what if Canada tries to take them? Can they come down and do that?
I doubt it.
Okay.
You're going to have to send they're going to have to send a whole army, and they're going to have a problem crossing the border.
Well, that, and they're going to have a hard time finding it when you leave the trail of maple syrup around the house to some other place, and then
But at the same time, I tell everybody, if it ever gets to the point that the United States government is sending military house to house to house to search for your silver and gold,
right?
They're going to be so desperate for money, that if they find your maple leaves, I'm sorry, they're going to take them anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm trying to give you I can tell you whatever I want to tell you, but I mean, I may be wrong, but that's how I see it, and I don't want to lie to anybody. So,
Yeah.
But
if they're that desperate, we have other problems that are going on as well.
Absolutely. But see, that's our call to fame is you can walk in my shop, buy it, and walk out. And because I had guys that bought stuff from my competitor in Oklahoma, and so they called him 3 years later, wanted to buy it, scared him to death because they actually had him in his computer and knew he had it.
Phil Martinez, Phil's Coins, I love it. 9344 West Central Avenue. Have a great one, my friend. We'll do it again next month.
Take care, be safe, be blessed.
There it is. Hour number 3, all done. Friday coming up. Stay here.
Steckline Communication Station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM. Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Continental Truck Accessories, 6701 South Broadway. Show your truck some love with Continental Truck Accessories.
Good Thursday on this final day of February. Friends and former campaign workers for Sedgwick County Commissioner Michael O'Donnell took the witness stand in his trial yesterday. O'Donnell accused of taking thousands of dollars from campaign funds and using them for his own personal use. David Jorgensen testified he got paid for 10 months when he didn't work for O'Donnell's campaign. Jorgensen said he asked for work but never received assignments from the campaign. Jack Masterson testified receiving a series of checks from the O'Donnell campaign but said he didn't recall doing any work for the campaign. The prosecution rested yesterday, and the trial resumes today at federal court in Wichita. Police in Wichita say the man who was found with a gunshot wound in his vehicle on Sunday morning has died. Wichita police have identified the shooting victim as 27-year-old Hector Ortega. Ortega was found around 5 o'clock Sunday morning in the 1100 block of South Fern. He died Tuesday night from his injuries. No arrests in the case have been made. I'm Rick Everett with news. Now with sports, Doug Downs.
The Wichita State Shockers wrap up the month of February tonight with a home game against the Yukon Huskies. A Shocker win tonight would give head coach Greg Marshall his 300th win at Wichita State. In order for the Shockers to win, they're going to need the confidence of Dexter Dennis and his hot shooting over the last 3 games to continue.
I'd say it's just a confidence thing. I believe just when I shoot it, it's going in every time.
We will have Shocker Sound off at 4 o'clock from Twin Peaks East. Also tonight on 1410 AM 93.9 FM KGSO, it's high school basketball sub-state as Cape Mount Carmel faces Bishop Carroll. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Farmers, where do you go when you need top-quality seed with a large selection? Kaufman Seeds. Call us for all your wheat, corn, soybeans, grain sorghum, forage,